He well and truly thumps it. Oh, it's a magical moment.
Premier League fever has come to Auckland City and the Hammers and their supporters are in town. It is game number 2 of the Carlsberg Football United Tour, and tonight it's the home team, the Wellington Phoenix, up against the EPL's West Ham United, and the fans are in fine voice and they're piling into Eden Park for a goodie. They're putting their tickets across the line and the smiles are all about. Welcome to Sky Arena's live coverage from the Garden of Eden, Eden Park. It is the Wellington Phoenix against West Ham United. Stephen McIver and Wellington Phoenix's Paul Eiffel once again in the hot seat after it being a lot colder last night in Dunedin. And again, we get more EPL teams here, and I got the feeling tonight's going to be a little bit more special than last night, Paul.
I think so. Wellington Phoenix at home, a home away from home, and against a decent EPL side, very physical side, but the Phoenix will be ready for that.
Yeah, both sides have arrived at the ground of West Ham United coming into first today, and they really were. They were there's just a feeling of intent about them too. And one thing that impressed us again was how big these players are.
Yeah, absolutely. It's another level of fitness, another level of physicality, and it's something the Phoenix will have to deal with tonight. And it's going to be tough, but definitely something to look forward to.
Yes, when we line up the teams, you look at the Wellington Phoenix, they will be a smaller looking side, but they too have arrived at Eden Park, and we'll start going through warm-ups very shortly here at Eden Park. Smiles all around, but the one thing we've got to impress upon folks tonight, and I know you and I talked about this, they need to take the opportunity, something that Sydney FC players didn't appear to last night.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they were a little bit quiet, Sydney. Only 2 shots in the whole game. Hopefully the Phoenix will start better. And they've got players like Nathan Burns, who's coming in. He's coming back. He's a former Socceroo. We want to get back in the Socceroos and impress tonight.
All righty, why don't we get some thoughts now from Jason Pine. Here's with Simon Hill, and their thoughts on how West Ham might approach this game this evening.
Thanks very much indeed, Stephen. Yes, West Ham United, the visitors to Eden Park in Auckland tonight. Simon Hill has the call. Simon, a big night for big Sam Allardyce. How does he approach it?
Well, I think in a similar fashion really to Alan Pardew with Newcastle United last night, what he'll be looking for is for West Ham to try and control the game and impose their pattern of play on this particular contest. And of course, Newcastle weren't really able to do that for the first 15-20 minutes. Once they got the first goal and the floodgates opened up a little bit and it became a bit more easier for them. But I think that's what Sam will be looking for, along obviously with the requisite fitness levels. They're building towards the start of their Premier League campaign, which is only about 4 or 5 weeks away. They start against Tottenham, so you know they're looking to build and gain some momentum.
First man out of the tunnel tonight in the West Ham shirt was Winston Reid, All Whites captain. Big night for him as well, in front of, I guess, his second home fans.
Well, huge for him. Obviously, he was born, I think, on the North Shore of Auckland in this fair city, so I'm sure he'll have a lot of local support. Got a big roar when he came out wearing the captain's armband tonight, and a big season, of course, for Winston. He's had some interest from, dare I say it, some of the bigger clubs in the Premier League, notably Liverpool and Man United. Arsenal have been mentioned in dispatches. We understand that he's probably going to sign a new contract with West Ham. So, you know, he's wearing the armband tonight. He'll be looking for a good performance and to show the home fans that anything is possible, you know, even when you're playing as far away from the Premier League as New Zealand.
Well, West Ham United arrived in Auckland on Sunday, and as soon as they arrived, they showed that they mean business.
West Ham United arrived in Auckland 5 days ago, a cold Saturday afternoon, but they were soon shown some fire in typical Kiwi style. It was a welcome that sat comfortably with manager Sam Allardyce.
Yeah, we're fantastic for us to travel and experience this part of the world. I think that our pre-season is going to be enhanced by taking this trip, not just from a football point of view, from also a culture point of view. So we're very much looking forward to seeing the sights of New Zealand.
After a disappointing mid-table finish last season, Big Sam was eager to remind folk that they're here to do a job.
Well, I think pre-season is obviously the catalyst to how good a season you're going to have. I think that while results are not the most important thing, it's certainly getting the players prepared for the start of the season, and of course getting the right conditioning and then the right team shape into the team, get the lads bonding again.
Captain Kevin Nolan pointed out that with 14 clean sheets but a lack of goals last season, the Irons' play would change with a new attacking mindset.
Yeah, I'm really positive that this year is going to be a very good one for us, and I'm just touching wood that we don't lose these two for the amount of time we did last year.
Striker Andy Carroll, who managed only 15 matches in the last Premier League term and just 2 goals due to injury, was another to impress on the need for an injury-free season.
It wasn't the greatest for me to sit and watch the lads play and not being involved, but obviously it's important this season that I stay fit and do everything right with the physios and just keep my fitness really.
And not knowing the local opposition isn't going to determine how the Hammers will play.
It's about us really. We know that the game will be tough. We know that the team we're playing against are going to be really up for it. We're going to be really motivated to play. And of course, opposition that they've never met before is pretty interesting for a player because you know, in the Premier League they tend to know who they're playing against week in and week out, but this one it's a different story for them. They have to work out for themselves pretty quickly who they're playing against, what the strengths and weaknesses are, which is a bigger challenge for the player because they won't know an awful lot about them.
West Ham manager Sam Allardyce, he is under pressure from his owners to play a more entertaining brand of football. Does it start here?
Yeah, I think he's under pressure, not just from the owners, but from the fans as well. They like, historically, to see a good brand of possession-based football. That's not really what Big Sam's all about. It'll be interesting to see if he can change his ways a little bit and what West Ham produce tonight.
All right, let's confirm the starting lineup for West Ham United in Game 2 of this Football United tour. We'll pick out a couple of little players for you in just a moment. You can't go past Kevin Nolan, their skipper. I mean, 30 goals in 3 years, 10 a game. That's a 10 a year. That's not half bad. But this Matt Jarvis you like.
I'm a big fan of Matt Jarvis. Done it the hard way. Was actually released from my old football club, Millwall, as a kid. Went to Gillingham and has risen through the ranks and eventually made his debut for England, which is sensational. Playing some really good stuff the last few seasons. Be interesting to see how he goes tonight.
All right, let's hear from Big Sam.
Well, Sam Allardyce, what do you look to achieve from a match such as this?
Well, I think that we were obviously looking for a very competitive game, which I think we'll definitely get tonight. I think that our preparation is a few weeks in now, so a good competitive game here tonight is what we're really looking for. A good atmosphere. Hopefully the fans will turn up to see the game. I'm sure walking through the city today, there's many a West Ham fan has turned up to watch us today. A lot have flown from Australia as well as in New Zealand. So we want to put a good performance on. We want to show everybody what the Premier League's like live, but we're not 100% and we're probably playing at around 80% at the moment with our training programme building up to the 16th of August.
From your players, what will have to happen tonight from them for you to be satisfied at the end of 90 minutes?
I think using the shape of the team to the best effect, the best possible effect, and see how they can create and open the opposition up, and then of course out of possession see how much fitness we've got by getting back into our shape and shutting down the opposition, not allowing them to play how they feel like they want to play tonight. So that for me is about a big test on the fitness level. Where does the fitness level lie at the moment, and then the ability level, topping that up as the weeks go on, and of course playing as a team, and of course individuals to create opportunities to score goals tonight. So we're trying to put it all together. This is probably our biggest competitive game we've had in pre-season. We want to obviously progress from here and get better and better each week we train and each game we play.
Sam, all the best to you on West Ham United tonight.
It's a pleasure, thank you.
He does love a chat, does Sam Allardyce, and this is the man that basically is the marquee player for this tour. Winston Reid, the All Whites captain, we've seen pictures of him before, but how must he be feeling right now? There's a really strong crowd building here at Eden Park.
Yeah, it's great being able to bring your team back to where you're from. You know, he burst on the scene 4 years ago and got a move after the World Cup. £5 million, a lot of money, but he's justified that price tag and has been brilliant. Club captain tonight, and leading your team back to where you're from, it's got to be a great feeling.
And that's a big deal to have the captain's armband, isn't it? Even in pre-season.
Absolutely, but he's been doing a good job. You know, he's an established player now. There's been talk of him moving here, there and everywhere, so he's obviously doing something right.
They have players that can do a good job. In the goal, they've got Jussi Jääskeläinen. He is the veteran Finnish goalkeeper, 56 caps for Finland, and a very good stopper.
Yeah, Big Sam knows what Jussi's all about. He's played under him at Bolton, 300-odd games at Bolton. He comes in now. He's very old, but he's very experienced, and he'll be nice and solid tonight.
But I suppose when you've got, as you say, an older keeper at the back, it gives you a little bit more confidence, doesn't it?
Absolutely, he knows what he's doing. He's been doing it for 20-odd years, so no problems with him tonight. He'll be nice and solid.
There he is, Jussi Jääskeläinen. Don't say that quickly, because I dare you to say that quickly, but we won't do that right now. Kevin Nolan, the skipper. I find this quite interesting, because Kevin Nolan used to be the Newcastle skipper and Newcastle in town. But for a midfielder, as we said, he knows how to score goals, averaging 10 a year.
10 a year. There's only probably Steven Gerrard, maybe Frank Lampard and Yaya Toure, who can sort of talk about a goals back at that sort of level. And yeah, he's a great player, always up and down, box to box. And if you can chip him with that sort of goal tally, Sam and Alas will be happy all the way.
But that's a huge bonus, is it not? Having someone in the midfield directing play around, but actually able to go and score goals and complement your striking force.
If you can do it both ends, you know, he's great defensively and great going forward. Chipping in with 10 goals, he's going to be the first name on Sam's team sheet.
All right, let's talk about one of the strikers, their new signing. They've got Diego Poyet is on the bench and coming off tonight too, but they have Argentinian Moro Zarate, handy striker, can score goals, scored plenty last year, but has played in the league before, not with much success.
No, he was at Birmingham before in the Premier League. Not great. Ended up going back to Argentina and scored a bucket load of goals in Argentina and looked the goods, really. Sam's brought him back over, hoping that there's more goals, and he'll want to get on the score sheet tonight.
Would have been handy if Andy Carroll was around, but the word we're having is Andy Carroll, who will not play either of these games. The rumour we've heard tonight at the grounds that Andy Carroll's actually on a plane back to England right now. If you're, I suppose that suggests one thing that we mentioned last day, and that was
a transfer. Hopefully back to Newcastle,
my
favourite team, yeah, which would be great. I mean, he played his best stuff there. Obviously, probably West Ham will be disappointed to lose him, but they'll get a nice, tidy transfer fee, and hopefully he fits back in at Newcastle like he did before.
You gossip.
Yeah. An exclusive, I think.
All right, there's the exclusive. Andy Carroll goes to Newcastle. He's on a plane already. Let's move on. Jason is sidelined with Jacob Spoonley to take our focus ahead towards the Wellington Phoenix.
Thanks indeed, Stephen. Yes, joined by All Whites goalkeeper, former Phoenix goalkeeper Jacob Spoonley. Jacob, the Phoenix players behind us warming up for a game against a Premier League side. Who would have thought it? How are they feeling out there at the moment?
Yeah, I'd say pretty nervous. Obviously, the Premier League is one of the best leagues in the world, and the chance to get to play them on your home soil is fantastic.
There is a bit of an extra, I guess, incentive coming up for a couple of these players as well. Manny Muscat today named in the A-League All-Stars, along with Albert Riera, who you know well. So, you know, West Ham United, Newcastle United, Juventus, some big games coming up for these two.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Albert, although he might be new to the A-League, he has been, I've known him for several years now, and he's done wonderful things with Auckland City and then had a great season with the Phoenix last year. So, you know, congratulations to him, and also congratulations to Manny, taking his chance to play against the likes of Llorente and Juventus.
So how do they approach this game tonight? What does Ernie Merrick say to his team? They're probably not going to beat West Ham, but how do they go and approach it?
It's a difficult one. Big Sam is known for his physical style of football. I think, as we've just heard, Andy Carroll's on his way home, so there's one less player to worry about. But it's going to be a real test for them, especially against the likes of West Ham, who, you know, are very strong, and the Premier League is played at such a pace, so they'll have to adjust very quickly.
And no Michael McGlinchey tonight, a real disappointment for him. It seems as though this is dragging on and on. Can you see a resolution at all on this one?
Well, yeah. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to resolve it prior to this game, so Michael's not going to be able to take the field tonight, but you hope it would be resolved in the short term.
Jacob Spoonley, All Whites goalkeeper, back to you guys, and Paul Eiffel, TAB ambassador, hat on. What are the odds for tonight's game?
We have the Phoenix tonight at $7.50. West Ham earlier were $1.50. Now they're into $1.30, so a lump of money has been placed on West Ham. The draw is at $4.80. Total goals this evening, 3 and under, $1.45. 4 and over, $2.60. Again, my favourite. Would like to see plenty of goals tonight.
Yeah, okay, because we had 4 goals last night, so that's a good number. What was that again? Look at that, 4 and over, $2.60. That's good money. All right, how about the Eiffel special tonight?
Well, the Eiffel special last night was a damp squib, but we're going to go with it again. I'm confident tonight. If the match finishes at 0-0, all losing exact score bets will be refunded.
Alrighty, so that's the damn squib again, but so if it's an exact score, it's 0 or you get your money back, right?
Absolutely.
Just like that, tab.co.nz, and remember to gamble responsibly. And remember, the TAB give a whole heap of cash back into the beautiful game. You know, when you think about it, 1 EPL team in the country is pretty cool, but 2 is even cooler, and that's exactly how the Wellington Phoenix players see it.
It's huge for the Phoenix. I think it shows where the club's at the moment, that you know, we can attract quality English Premier League sides to this country, and I guess the A-League, it's a great you know, advertisement for the A-League as well, that we can get these types of teams to come here to our shores and play these games.
You grow up watching these teams play and these players play every week, and have been for a long time now. So to be able to get the opportunity to play against them here in New Zealand, you always like to test yourself against the best players in the world, and hopefully we can make the most of it.
obviously they're two massive clubs with some big players and big money, so it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. So you want to put in a good performance and show to Ernie that you know you want to be part of the squad coming into the round one.
Charles Cunningham, what a goal! Kenny Cunningham with one of the goals of the season. Brocky away here for him. Brocky shoots first time. Brocky! Oh dear,
He's come in with a great pedigree. Well, everyone knew who Ernie was and what he's done, and you know, he came in and he completely changed the face of the club. You know, he's added youth, he's added flair, he's added excitement, and he's added goals. You know, the results weren't what we were after, but you know, I think if you watched our season, the way we played was a lot different to how we previously.
Really proud moment for him to showcase his club in front of his friends and family.
He's an established centre-back now in the Premier League, and maybe get the opportunity to swap jerseys with him as well. One Kiwi to another, but there might be a few.
That's why we play football, to play in front of, you know, packed stadiums and, you know, the media buzz. You know, it's an exciting time for us.
It's going to be a difficult game, we know that, but you know, we just want to try and play a really attacking football game, not be overawed by the situation, and give it a good crack, and hopefully all the fans out there really enjoy the game.
Huge opportunity for Phoenix captain Andrew Durante to lead his side. The Knicks faithful have come from all over the country for this one, but we are told that it's getting close to a sellout in Wellington for Saturday's doubleheader. But there is certainly a very strong crowd building for this one. Paul, we saw last night Sydney FC probably not take their opportunity. As a Phoenix player, if you were out there tonight, and I know you'd love to be out there, how would you approach this game?
Just be full of confidence. Pre-season's a time for trying things and being a little bit flamboyant, taking risks. Why not? So get it out of the way in pre-season and get things right for when the season starts. So if I was a young boy like Tyler Boyd, I'd see this as an opportunity. It's a big shot window. Why not go out and show West Ham exactly what you can do?
And I suppose the hard thing, as we saw last night with the FC guys against Newcastle, they're bigger, so you're going to have to try and muscle up a little bit, aren't you?
Yeah, you've got to be big and strong, because it's a tough league, the EPL, and they've got to be ready for that tonight. But it's a really big challenge for the young boys on the side.
I got to ask you this question. Every time I look at Ben Sigmund on the team list, I go, is Siggy going to have a clatter at someone?
That is an absolute given. He'll be absolutely devastated that Andy Carroll's not playing, because, you know, he would have liked to pit his wits against one of the best. But he's got Carlton Cole up there tonight, and he's a big boy himself. So it'll be a big clash between them two. It'll
be good to see, and see it particularly how their fitness holds too. Let's confirm the lineup of the Wellington Phoenix that Ernie Merrick has named for this. Lots of young boys in there, but the one you want to just quickly focus on, Thomas Doyle.
Yeah, Tom Doyle, young lad. He's been trialling with the club for a while. He was in last year. Not too sure about his attitude. Went away and has worked his socks off. Come back in this pre-season, and by all accounts has been brilliant. Ernie's given him a chance tonight, and I really hope he grabs it.
Keep your eye on number 24, Thomas Doyle. Let's hear from Ernie Merrick.
Well, Ernie Merrick, are you ready for a game against an English Premier League side?
Yes, I am. We're very excited about it. I think it's pretty tough doing this media interview after Sam Allardyce. That's a big role to follow.
Michael McGlinchey, a lot of talk about his involvement or otherwise tonight. What can you tell us?
Michael won't be taking part tonight. I can't comment on that subject. However, I would like to say that I'm appalled by the lack of speed of decision making in this situation. That's all I'll say.
Can you expand in terms of when you hope a resolution might come?
I've given up doing that.
How will you approach the game tonight? Integration of new players, your experienced heads, what's the plan?
We want to play a style of football that we want to take into the A-League, but obviously we're playing against world-class players, multi-million dollars worth of players out there. So we won't be as venturesome when it comes to pressing in the front third, but we still want to press. We want to hold possession in the midfield, and unless we can hold possession in the midfield, we've got no chance of getting forward and creating scoring opportunities. We've worked on that over the last few weeks, and hopefully we can put it into practice today.
Is tonight also an opportunity to give most of the squad a run?
Most of the boys will get a run over the two games. I don't think they'll all get a run tonight. I think it's important that we keep our stronger players out as long as we can. It's important we get our shape right. Once you change too many players, you lose your shape, as happened last night. But I enjoyed the game with Newcastle and Sydney.
Good luck tonight, Ernie.
Thanks very much, Jason. Thank you.
Both coaches we've seen tonight, look, they've got their game face on. It's a pre-season match. Is it bigger than we're getting here?
Oh, I think so. Nobody wants to lose a game of football, whatever it is, at any stage of any season. So they're going to be ready.
Let's talk about a good story. Albert Riera for the Wellington Phoenix.
Great story. Last pre-season, we went up to Auckland City, played up there. Albert Riera was the standout in the pre-season game. He controlled the game. Only talked to some of the senior boys after about signing him. We weren't too sure, but Ernie definitely got this one right.
Yeah, actually, how big a deal is it when you look at a player and you go, Ernie talks to the lads and says, right, what do you think? How has he fitted into the team? What do you look at for someone that makes that perfect Phoenix player?
A good guy and a good footballer, and we've managed to get both all rolled into one. He's been exceptional, fitted in so quickly. He's a senior player now after only one season.
There is one player who's also Spanish, is Alejandro Rodriguez-Gorin, but we've just been told he wants to be known as Alex Rodriguez, so that's how we will refer to him from here on in. But another Spaniard, and he's in the midfield, so good combo.
Absolutely. The fact that he speaks Spanish, great for the two of them. There we had a converse on the pitch. But, you know, another good player, good pedigree, comes from Sunderland and has played at a decent level. So he should find this quite easy, I would imagine, this season.
Actually, someone said he was really high up in the reserve grade, and that's actually a big deal to actually grab someone from that level.
Yeah, absolutely. He was captain of the reserves, comes with good pedigree, good player. I've watched him in training a number of times. Great link-up already with Riera, obviously the Spanish connection there. Nathan Burns is another one in midfield, good player, and I think they link up well.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think the key with Nathan Burns is, well, you have to understand what the hell they're talking about for a start, or they'll just be doing this.
Yeah, hand signals. He's going to learn Spanish by all accounts.
Nathan Burns, what do you make of him? What have you seen of that you say, yes, he's a good fit for the Phoenix?
Absolutely, another good lad, another very good player. He was brilliant last year against us for Newcastle Jets, tore us to pieces, and he obviously liked what he saw. When I signed him, he's a former Socceroo. We definitely want him to get back in Ange Postecoglou's plans.
Why did he tear you apart?
Great footwork, up and down. He's probably the fittest boy in the squad, and he hasn't been doing much of late. Came in, did the beep test, early doors, and won it.
Yeah, we've talked to this fitness thing comes up. Hey, just a quick reminder, you can see at the bottom of your screen, if you're an HD viewer, you can see this on channel 66 for crystal clear. If you're an SD viewer, a bit fuzzy maybe, channel 65. So HD 66, that's what I'll be doing, and SD channel 65. Let's talk about Andrew Durante, the Dura, the rock at the back.
Great captain. I mean, probably one of the best captains I've ever played for. Leads by example. If there's ever a problem on and off the pitch, you can get on the phone to this guy and he gets it fixed. The young boys really do look up to him, and he's always got a word for the young boys. So great to have him around the place, and really pleased that he's actually signed a new contract.
Yeah, that is a big deal, because he won a championship, then came over here, and everybody said, why are you going to the bottom place team? He must have seen something surely at that stage.
I think so. I think it's a challenge, you know. He won a championship. What else was there to do at that club? He came here, and he's yet to win a championship. So I hope he stays until he does do that.
Alrighty, it is West Ham United against the Wellington Phoenix. Can you feel it? Because I can feel it today. There's a very, very, very good crowd in here tonight.
Very good crowd, great atmosphere. This is the best place to be apart from on that pitch, so I'm as close as I can get.
Yeah, I know it's a tough one for you. What do you want to see out of the Phoenix ahead of the A-League season?
A bit of confidence tonight, a few combinations worked on, and just the boys go into the season on a high.
Actually, you know what we haven't spoken about, we must talk about it, because we talked about West Ham scoring goals. Jeremy Brockie, got to get his mojo back, surely.
I think so. I think it's possible. He's had a great pre-season so far, been scoring goals for fun in training. Ernie's pleased with him. He starts tonight. What better way than to score against an EPL club, full of confidence going into the season.
Actually, you know what we haven't done? We haven't done this. We haven't actually walked on the pitch. Do you want to just walk on the pitch and get the feel for it?
It's lovely.
How good does that feel?
It feels great.
Do you want to get your boots on?
I'd love to get my boots on. It won't be long. It won't be long.
All right, we're not too far away from kickoff in the Carlsberg Football United Tour, game number 2. To Saturday, it's the doubleheader. We are looking forward to that one from Westpac Stadium in Wing, so get yourself into that one. But right now, it'll be Paul Eiffel, Simon Hill, getting ready for this one. Live from Eden Park. Get upon it in Sky Arena. It's the Hammers against the Knicks, live.
In the English Premier League, we'll show them you don't need 35 million quid to play football.
With good indoor-outdoor flow.
And pays 3 wags.
I did it too.
It's on your credit card.
You're in on the sheet, come on.
When he says page 3, man.
Jesus.
He well and truly thumps it. It's a magical moment. He well and truly thumped
Yes, the second game of the Carlsberg Football United Tour, and it's our first look at West Ham United, one of the grand old names of English football, evoking memories of Hurst, Peters and Bobby Moore. Today, a certain Winston Reid leads them back in his home city of Auckland. Wellington Phoenix will have plenty of local support, looking to improve upon their transitional season in the A-League under Ernie Merrick. Can they run the Premier League heavyweights a bit closer than Sydney FC did last night in Dunedin? Yes, wherever you're watching around the world, a warm welcome to Eden Park in Auckland for the second game of this Football United Tour. A first ever trip to New Zealand for English Premier League giants West Ham United. And tonight they take on the home team, Wellington Phoenix. The Hammers bringing with them local hero Winston Reid, plus an array of foreign and British talent. This the furthest the club has ever travelled for their pre-season preparations, beating the trip to China 5 years ago for the Asia Trophy. They hope to win favour with the locals, to win some new friends, and of course some matches if possible. Let's take a check then on the two team lineups, starting with the Wellington Phoenix. The big news, of course, surrounding Michael McGlinchey. The toing and froing over his registration went on until just before kick-off, but it did not come through, and Ernie Merrick, their coach, less than pleased. That means Nathan Burns will play a slightly deeper role, with Louis Fenton included in a front three. Albert Riera continues his comeback from injury, and congratulations to him and Manny Muscat for their selection for the A-League All-Star team. Now, a very strong West Ham lineup and 8 full internationals in that starting 11. No Andy Carroll, though, who's been ruled out with an injury. So Carlton Cole will lead the line. New signing Cheku Kuyate starts. A powerful defensive midfielder in the mould of Patrick Vieira, and Aaron Cresswell is another new recruit from Ipswich Town at left-back. All eyes, though, of course, today will be on all-white Winston Reid, who wears the captain's armband in his home city. And a quick look at the two benches for the two teams, and want to keep your eye on the number 10 for West Ham, Mauro Zarate, one of their off-season recruits, and of course their latest acquisition, Enner Valencia, not signed quite in time to make the long trip south. Well, this stadium, well used to international matches of the oval ball kind. It has some football history in that regard too, with New Zealand having hosted 3 internationals here, the first of which was all the way back in 1947. More recently, Wellington Phoenix and their loud and large army of fans have played a couple of A-League matches here too, leaving undefeated in both. The Knicks, of course, famously also defeated Boca Juniors the last time a high-profile overseas team came to these shores. Coach Ernie Merrick says the team may play cautiously tonight, but he knows a bit about West Ham, having spent time with his opposite number Sam Allardyce in London as recently as May. Talking of Allardyce, he remains somewhat of a divisive figure amongst Hammers fans. He will need a good English Premier League season, and to that end, as we've already mentioned, he's invested very heavily in his squad already, with Enner Valencia the latest arrival to complement the likes of Cheku Kuyate, Aaron Cresswell, Mauro Zarate and Diego Poyet. So here they come. The gap between Premier League and A-League can be illustrated by the transfer fee paid for Enner Valencia, which at nearly $22 million almost covers the salary cap for the 10 clubs in the domestic competition here combined. Around about 15,000 tickets sold, a crowd of around 20,000. It's a new look Hammers kit, which is reminiscent of some of their glory days in the mid-1980s when they finished third in the Old English First Division, the likes of Tony Cottee and Frank McAvenny in that particular lineup. Now, before we start today, we're going to pay further tribute to those two Newcastle United fans who should be in New Zealand at the moment, but tragically never made it. John Alder and Liam Sweeney killed in the tragic air disaster in Ukraine aboard Malaysian Airlines flight MH17. And we're going to observe a moment's silence for them. Well, tragedy does tend to bring football fans together. Nice to see that moment's respect impeccably observed by both sets of supporters. And there are a lot of West Ham fans here. They've got a huge supporters club, I know, just over the ditch in Australia. Plenty of them have made the short flight. No flight required for tonight's referee, Peter O'Leary, fresh from his exertions at the World Cup in Brazil. There he is, the man in the middle with the whistle, one of the A-League's most experienced officials. Well, Hammers fans in this part of the world have waited a long time for this. See their heroes in the flesh. And whatever the locals' persuasion today, they'll enjoy watching Winston Reid, and looks already as though he's going to enjoy the occasion as well, and why not? Reid wearing the captain's armband. Talking of armbands, all the players from both teams wearing black armbands, of course, to further honour the memory of those two Newcastle United fans so tragically not with us. Andy Durante, the Wellington Phoenix skipper. Big moment these for the players of Wellington Phoenix. Not too often you get to play against a big outfit from the English Premier League, such as West Ham United. They will hope to perform with distinction here this evening. Sydney gave it a good go for 15-20 minutes last night in Dunedin, but then the quality and class of Newcastle rather shone through. Slightly better from the Sky Blues in the second half. Sure, Ernie Merrick will look at the very least to try and get his team on the score sheet here this evening. It's been a nice warm day in Auckland, certainly warmer than it was in Dunedin yesterday, that's for sure. Current temperatures very pleasant and comfortable, 10 degrees for the players and fans alike. Coin toss conducted. And now we're going to have the haka performed by the Maori School of Mangere. I'm going to attempt some Maori. Te kura ko papa Maori ara roa o Mangere. Well, I don't know about you, but that always brings a chill down my spine. I love watching that. It's perhaps a little bit more intimidating when the All Blacks do it, but let's hope it's done the trick from a Wellington Phoenix point of view, and the West Ham players are suitably spooked. They look to be enjoying it, maybe apart from new signing Cheku Kuyate. I'm not sure he knew what was going on. Winston Reid certainly did. He's well used to those traditions, of course, in this part of the world, and they have had the warmest of welcomes here in New Zealand. Just reading from the body language from their coach, Sam Allardyce in particular, or their manager in English parlance. I think they are thoroughly enjoying their time in this part of the world. There is Cheku Kuyate, just got a quick glimpse of him. That is Mark Noble, one of the local boys, current Hammer of the Year. It is a very strong lineup that they've put out, West Ham. Wellington Phoenix have Albert Riera back in their starting 11. We are all set for what hopefully will be a really good contest here this evening, as Wellington Phoenix in their yellow and black colours get us underway here in Auckland. Alongside is Paul Eiffel, of course, formerly with the Phoenix, may still be again, and a former Millwall player, and you had one or two decent battles with West Ham, Paul, in those local derby battles in London. I don't think you ever lost one.
Good evening, Simon. No, I didn't lose one, which is I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest.
What are you expecting to see tonight, Paul?
I just hope that the boys come out a little bit more fired up and just a bit more confident. You know, take a few risks. You know, it's pre-season. Obviously, it's a fitness exercise, but you know, just show that we can play a little bit more than Sydney showed last night.
Wellington can play. Certainly a change of style under Ernie Merrick last season. I think probably the players enjoyed that. Perhaps the results didn't really reflect that. You could almost split the season into three, couldn't you? The first 10 games, of course, no wins, and then that purple patch in the middle of the season, and then a bit of a tail off towards the end.
Yeah, I think it took the lads a long time to get used to the system.
Just break away because Mohamed Diame is on the ball here on the right for West Ham United as they look to launch the first attack. Glenn Moss has come a long way and collided with his own defender Ben Sigmund, but it's scrambled clear by the Knicks.
Yeah, going back to that, I think it took a long time to get used to the system. Once they did in the middle of the season, played some good stuff, and you know, for 10 games looked like the best team in the league in patches. With the injury to Albert Riera, it really slowed us down, and the end of the season was pretty tough. But a decent pre-season under our belts, a few new signings, and I think we'll surprise a few people this year.
Sure, many in New Zealand will echo those thoughts. A-League campaign, of course, still a couple of months away. Long off-season in this part of the world. Less so for West Ham. They open the new Premier League campaign in the middle of August against Tottenham Hotspur. So perhaps, as we saw with Newcastle last night, the English clubs a little bit further on in their preparations. Certainly when Newcastle found their groove last night, Sydney FC found it difficult to live with for a good 20-minute period. Here's local hero Winston Reid playing it along the line. It's a bit of dew on the surface. The ball just seems to be holding up slightly. Paul, you had a walk on it.
Yeah, it's a little bit better than last night. Not quite as bumpy. It's still going to be tough. Conditions obviously not great at this time of year, but you know, the same for both teams. So I expect them to keep it on the deck and play some decent stuff both sides, hopefully.
This is Mark Noble looking for the run of Aaron Cresswell down the left flank. His run was covered by Louis Fenton, who'll have to no doubt get through plenty of defensive duty, even though ostensibly playing further forward. And here's a chance for Nathan Burns to run. Fenton is he's just hip and shouldered off the ball there by the very imposing figure of James Collins. And there's another crunching challenge involving the youngster Tom Doyle and Mohamed Diame. Big test for Doyle this evening.
Absolutely, but he's chucked himself into that tackle first up, and that's great to see. He's on the ball again here.
Yes, and Collins again.
Yep, the tackles are flying in, that's for sure.
There's Tom Doyle hoping to win a full-time contract, I should say, with Wellington Phoenix. You've probably seen a bit of him in pre-season, Paul.
Yeah, he's been excellent in pre-season. He actually came in last year, this time last year. Did okay, didn't quite do enough. Has been away playing local stuff and has done really, really well. Come back in, he looks a bit bigger, a bit stronger, and he's been better on the ball so far in pre-season. And he's been impressed. And obviously, see what goes on tonight. But you know, hopefully, he won't do himself any harm.
Well, the best thing I can say about Tom Doyle is childhood Manchester City fan, which goes down well in my book.
Childhood meaning he's not anymore.
Here come the Hammers, trying to thread it through for Matt Jarvis. One of those 8 full internationals, and a little bit left in that one from Louis Fenton. I'm not sure there was malice in there, but it's Cheku Kouyaté, the new signing for West Ham, who's borne the full brunt of that, and he looks to be in some discomfort. And of course, that's the one thing as a Premier League manager or even an A-League manager, you really do. Oh, that's a nasty one from Louis Fenton.
Yeah, I don't think there's no malice in that.
Well,
he's played the ball.
He's actually trodden on the ball, and that momentum has carried him full through, flush onto the shin of Kouyaté, and that will hurt.
That's going to be a bit sore. I think Kouyaté did well to see it come in and actually get his feet off the ground, because that could have been a little bit nasty if he'd have had his foot planted there.
Well, Fenton's got a yellow card for that, which you can understand from Peter O'Leary. Thankfully, Kouyaté is up and about and is seemingly okay. And again, I don't think there was malice involved in that.
It's just the fact that his foot bounced off the ball.
I think it all started from a bad touch, and he's done what he could to win the ball back, and the tackle was a little bit wayward. Foot on top of the ball, and it's rolled on into his shin, really. Obviously going to be sore, but he looks like he's okay, so that's good news.
Well, it's certainly given Fenton the hard stare as well, so maybe watch out for a bit of retribution. Anyway, Kouyaté off for the moment. He'll be back on shortly. Jarvis with the cross towards the far post, and the header from Carlton Cole was on target, and no real trouble for Glenn Moss.
Yeah, it's going to be a big test for Ben Sigmund tonight. Carlton Cole, big and strong. You know what you're going to get from him. But Siggy, I think, will be up to the challenge. He'll relish this.
Wellington will need to cut off the service, of course, particularly from Jarvis on that left flank, who's got a very good left peg. Earned him a full England cap a couple of years back.
Yeah, it'll be a decent battle down the side, because Manny Muscat's been in good form, obviously last year with the call-up to the A-League All-Stars, and he's had a good pre-season so far, so it'll be interesting to see how they go against each other.
Well, we had a pretty cagey start last night in Dunedin. A bit more action to this one. One effort on target from West Ham as Diame rather shanks that behind, and one injury concern for Kouyaté, thankfully not serious.
Yeah, good news to see him come back on. A little bit of a hobble, but I'm sure he'll be able to run that off.
I don't know how much you've seen of Kouyaté, new arrival, of course, at West Ham, but as we mentioned in the opening, Paul, he's rumoured to be similar in physique and style of play to the likes of Patrick Vieira.
If you're talking about Patrick Vieira in the same sentence, I'd be
pretty
pleased.
Not a bad compliment,
yeah,
is it?
absolutely. So it'd be good to see how he goes. But sounds like a decent signing, coming with a good CV.
Manny Muscat winning that one in the air. Squirts out towards Aaron Cresswell. Carlton Cole coming a cropper. Sigmund, and now Durante should tidy up for the Knicks. Durante trying to play out from the back, but with a touch of good fortune there, Wellington, to retain possession. Down the line by Muscat, infield by Fenton. Here's Riera. Shaken off possession of the ball, though, by Kouyaté, and that's with Jarvis. Looking to attack the fullback and get to the line, which he's done. A good cutback, and that should have been the opening goal. That's a fine save from Glenn Moss. Carlton Cole denied for the second time.
Yeah, the Phoenix there, same problems as Sydney last night. Coughing up the ball under pressure, and the EPL teams just break so quickly. Broke down the left, Matt Jarvis, great bit of play, and he's picked somebody out there. There wasn't an aimless cross. Picked Carlton Cole out, and to be fair, he probably should have scored. Tidy save from Glenn Moss. Oh, with his face, actually. I'll take that back.
He's cheeked it wide. A cheeky save.
Save it with whatever you've got.
Absolutely. Here's the resultant corner. Came off the West Ham head, I think. Jarvis will tee it back for Cresswell. Evades the lunge of Riera. Still Wellington can't get it clear. Here's that man Carlton Cole again. Chance for him to stake a claim, of course, with Cowell not part of this contest. Curled in by Jarvis, who is already shaping as one of those to watch for the neutrals in the crowd, and certainly for the Wellington defence. That's casual, too casual from Riera. And we talked about this last night, Paul. The A-League outfits can't afford to give away too much cheap ball.
Absolutely. I think you find at this level, you give it away, and EPL teams break so quickly. That was a very cheap giveaway there, but I think you find yourself under a lot more pressure when you play at this level. The pressing is another level again, and it's very tight under pressure. But the Phoenix have kept the ball quite well. A couple of cheap giveaways, but if they can get that out, they've started okay.
Talking of casually giving the ball away, West Ham very nearly did, and well, they're in the wars again here. It's Winston Reid, the all-white, who felt the full weight of that challenge. Well, a couple of early scares for Sam Allardyce, not particularly what you want from a pre-season friendly, which nominally this game is. Again, I just wonder whether the surface has had a little bit to do with it. It's very dewy on top.
Yeah.
And just a bit slippery slidey for the players.
I think Alex Rodriguez there looks like he slips just as he gets there. I think he tries to pull out, and it's with the slippy surface, he goes straight into Winston Reid.
Just confirmation. Alan Alejandro Gorin, as we thought he was going to be known, has told us he prefers Alex Rodriguez, so that's what he'll be known as. Oh, that's a blatant foul. That's a rugby challenge.
I think this will be another yellow card.
Well, this has been a tasty pre-season tournament game. We've had 2 yellow cards in the opening 10 minutes.
I would have thought, yeah, 2 yellow cards. I think he's used to giving them out at the World Cup. Probably wants to get him back at the pocket again, dust him down.
You can give me the name of an all-black fullback or a player who'd be proud of that challenge, Paul.
I'm going to go with a Piri Wupu. He'd be
Take your word for it.
Yeah. But good play again, actually, from Nathan Burns. Very, very positive. Got down the right-hand side and made him make a foul, basically.
Chance for the Knicks here. Oh, and it's in! They've scored! The skipper, Andy Durante. The delivery from Alex Rodriguez. Nobody picked up Andy Durante at the near post, and Wellington Phoenix lead against the English Premier League giants. Incredible.
That's exactly what I've been talking about, taking a chance. Burns, great work down the right, draws the free kick. Tidy little free kick from Alexander Rodriguez, and a great tuck away by Dura. He's not known for his goal-scoring ability, but he's stepped up tonight, and hopefully that'll open up the game a little bit more.
Well, Andy Durante has only ever scored 2 goals in the national leagues of Australia and New Zealand. What a moment for him, and what a moment for the Wellington Phoenix.
Definitely a great start. Like you said, Dura's not one to score many goals, but he seems to do it on the big stage.
Well, you won't get much of a smile out of Ernie Merrick, of course, we know that, but inwardly he'll be delighted with that. Wellington's first ever goal, if you're looking for pieces of history against English Premier League opposition, of course. And they've already managed to do something that Sydney couldn't achieve in 90 minutes last night. In fact, it took them an hour to get a shot on target, Sydney FC.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we talked about that before. I said, you know, hopefully tonight we'd see a more open game and we see the Phoenix really trying to sort of force the issue early, and we've seen that. So West Ham will probably be a little bit embarrassed by that, and we'll come out, you know, all guns blazing, hopefully, and we see a very open game.
Jussi Jääskeläinen not best pleased. 56 caps for Finland, the veteran goalkeeper. Beaten really with Wellington's first attack. Well, the yellow fever happy enough, why wouldn't they be? It just goes to show you can hurt even the biggest teams, particularly from set pieces if they go to sleep for a moment or two, which West Ham certainly did there. Nobody picked up Andy Durante. His header was on target and had enough power to beat Jussi Jääskeläinen.
Yeah, set pieces are obviously very important. I know Ernie does a lot of work during the week on set pieces. I don't know if they'd have particularly worked on that one with Durante at the near post, but it worked well, and a great start for the Phoenix.
Nice way to celebrate the signing of a new contract as well for Andy Durante. Will extend his 7-year stay with the Knicks. He's part of the furniture this part of the world.
Absolutely. I think it's great news. He's, as I said before, he's a great captain, somebody you really want to play for, and leads by example, which he's doing again tonight.
So what can Sam Allardyce's Premier League team do about it? This is noble. It was his not very noble challenge that led, of course, to the free kick, expertly delivered by Alex Rodriguez. Cresswell cutting inside to try and shake off the attentions of Fenton. This is Kouyaté. This is Diame looking to pick out Carlton Cole, who leapt. Wellington just did enough, and then another little slip on the surface from Alba Riera. Wellington up towards halfway, where only Guy Demel waits.
Good clearance there at the back, but I think Tom Doyle probably needs to be a bit tighter on the right-sided player there. It's too easy to get in the cross in there.
This is Cole. Cresswell. Now Collins. A couple of early crunching challenges from the big Welshman. Demel with the chip over the top, and again Doyle's just been caught the wrong side of Diame, who stumbled when initially trying to control the ball. Wellington will play out, and we've even got a few Olays from the Yellow Fever. They're enjoying themselves.
Nice triangles there, but you don't want to get caught on the ball. I think it needs to go long from Glenn Moss here.
And it does. Plenty of smiles on those Kiwi faces. I don't think Sam Allardyce will be smiling too much at the moment. Bit of pressure on him, as there is on Alan Pardew, his Newcastle opposite number. Also involved in this tournament ahead of the new Premier League campaign. West Ham had a rather topsy-turvy campaign, finished 13th last season. That's well read by Guy Demel. Riera there to pick up the scraps in midfield for Wellington. Ernie Merrick impressing on us in the media pre-game, Paul, that it was so important for Wellington to perform well in that central area of the park.
Yeah, I think it's very important. Obviously having somebody like Albert Riera back in there is very good. He was definitely missed towards the end of last season with that pretty terrible injury, out for 6 months, and I've actually been doing a bit of rehab with him, and he's worked really hard to get back in the shape he's in now. So good to see him back, and good to see the combination started with Alex Rodriguez as well.
So it's James Collins, who has plenty of time to loft it up towards Carlton Cole. He used a bit of leverage there. West Ham looking to pick up the scraps from the rebound, but it's Wellington who will bring it clear through Riera. Really fine Collins. Demel right in the challenge of Tyler Boyd. Kouyaté offers with a little run into the channel, but Demel goes back towards halfway, and James Collins instead. A little bit of keep ball from West Ham. This is Cresswell. Noble. Collins. That was a neat turn. Not so neat challenge on Cheku Kouyaté. Let's quickly go down to David Choate and get some news from the touchline, David.
Listen, the contrast in this game, fellas, couldn't be greater, isn't it? The first 20 minutes of this match has been far more willing. The Phoenix really happy to get in tight and tussle with the West Ham side that we knew was going to be physical. Interesting, we're tucked in behind the Phoenix bench here, where Ernie Merrick has been very animated about trying to get his midfield two to come in and be a bit more narrow. So I'm probably talking about your two wide guys in Boyd and Fenton to try and tuck in and just support that middle three and keep that midfield battle just tight as a drum.
Yeah, shut off the space for the West Ham players, which they're trying to do here from the set piece. Little step-overs from Matt Jarvis. He is a tricky player. Loves to hug that left-hand touchline, but it's all come to naught that for West Ham, and now they could be in trouble at the other end. It's the pacey Nathan Burns, if he can get around the defender, which he did initially, Mark Noble, but Noble, I think, just did enough, and maybe got a touch in there as well, which allowed Guy Demel to recover his ground, Paul.
Yeah, good defensive work again from West Ham. We're trying to catch them on the counter when we can, but they seem to be getting back pretty quick. I think the way the Phoenix have set up so far has been good. It's been very hard for West Ham to find any way through. A few long balls up to Carlton Cole, but apart from that, things look pretty good for the Phoenix so far.
It's a bit of an air swing, though, from Nathan Burns. And he has the sort of pace and touch when he's on his day that can hurt teams. And again, they've got an opportunity here, Wellington. Fenton thought about the shot, perhaps. Nathan Burns might do as well. Tyler Boyd will drive it. It's on target. Routine stop for Jaskalainen, but, well, they're creating chances, Wellington.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to see. I think didn't really have too many options in front of him, Tyler. Maybe he could have got at the fullback a little bit more, but nice to see the boys having a shot and, you know, having a bit of confidence about their work, really.
2 shots on target apiece. Crucially, the 1 goal has gone the way of the Knicks, courtesy of Andy Durante, the captain. Sigmund getting in very tight on Kevin Nolan. And the resultant pass from Manny Muscat was just slightly wide of Riera, which has put the pressure back on the Knicks. This is Diame, cross with the left foot. Just helped away from Jarvis by Fenton. Just talking about pressure on Sam Allardyce, West Ham actually lost 8 of their last 11 Premier League matches at the back end of last season. So he knows he needs a good start to this campaign. All those press rumours and articles will reappear as Cresswell crosses. Good-looking delivery too towards Diame, and it's flicked away off the head of the youngster Tom Doyle.
Yeah, great positioning from Doyle there. He's tucked back in quite nicely and headed it away. And he'll be pleased with his positioning there.
Noble. Just a little bit too much weight on the ball. Dudamel unable to reel it in. The man from the Ivory Coast. Premier League squads from top to bottom these days, just hugely eclectic mix of nationalities.
Absolutely, the 2 sides we've seen come over to New Zealand have been a case in point. Plenty of Frenchmen, obviously at Newcastle, throwing a few Dutchmen as well, and West Ham are absolutely no different.
Well, you can see the possession stats heavily favouring West Ham. I don't think that will be any surprise to people watching at home, but lack of possession doesn't necessarily mean the wrong result.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, the Phoenix have set up with a game plan, and it seems to be working at the moment. Taking their chance well. It's up to West Ham to come and impress on the game, really, and get themselves back into this.
And again, a bit of a lunge. Peter O'Leary is pretty stern and fairly vocal in his demands for Wellington to cut those sort of challenges out. It was Alex Rodriguez who was a little late. Carlton Cole, the latest to get up rather gingerly. While he was stretching, he was slightly lunging. Just caught with the trailing leg was Carlton Cole. And he felt it.
I think Rodriguez was slightly unlucky there. I think he actually played a bit of the ball. I think, like you said, it was the trailing leg that actually got him. Nothing malicious there.
Hung up by Collins. One in the air towards Carlton Cole. It's just wide. Well, we know he's a danger in the air, as would have been Andy Carroll had he played. Of course, with the likes of Enner Valencia and Mauro Zarate sat on the bench. This competition for places in every part of the West Ham lineup is fierce, Paul.
Absolutely, it's obviously important that Carlton Cole impresses Sam Allardyce tonight. He pays sort of $22 million for a centre forward. He's going to be playing. Zarate's come in for a lot of money as well, so Cole could be on the outer this season, but you know, a great chance to impress tonight and keep the other guys out of the team for the time being at least.
This is Mohamed Diame. One of those who's trying to win a regular place this coming Premier League campaign. Matt Jarvis, who's perhaps provided West Ham's best moments. It's another decent delivery. Nodded back into the danger zone. This should be 1-1, but it's not. And neither Kouyaté nor Kevin Nolan could get any decent purchase on the ball, and Glenn Moss flopped gratefully on it. Jarvis again causing the problems. Riera perhaps just did enough. There was maybe a suggestion that Riera got a piece of Kouyaté there. He was certainly appealing towards referee Peter O'Leary for a penalty. Rather half-hearted perhaps in the end.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough there for a penalty. I think he's just done enough to put him off. little bit of an air swing, and I don't think Nolan was expecting the ball to fall anywhere near him, so couldn't get anything on it, which is quite lucky for the Phoenix there.
Well, 25 minutes played, and they've fairly flown by those minutes. It's been a good tempo to the contest, and Wellington have more than played their part. Of course, that sounds obvious given the scoreline, but even though West Ham have dominated the possession, Wellington have kept them honest.
Yeah, definitely. I've enjoyed it so far, and I think more importantly, the boys have enjoyed it. They've given as good as they got so far, so it's definitely nice to see.
And talking of which, Kuyate's just had a little nibble back at one of the Wellington players there in the middle of the park.
Well, like we said, if he's anything like Patrick Vieira, he'll have a little black book, so expect to see a few Wellington names scribbled in it.
Nathan Burns, that's disappointing, and a crunching challenge again from Collins. It breaks the way of Alex Rodriguez. It's two! Alex Rodriguez! Welcome to Wellington, Phoenix! What a finish!
That's a great finish from Rodriguez. Good tackle as well. Rode the tackle from Collins. It was a great 50-50, both winning wholeheartedly, and he strode on and struck a great finish past Jääskeläinen.
Well, Jääskeläinen hasn't had anything to do but pick the ball out of the back of his net on 2 occasions, and that's an unerring finish from the Spaniards, who announces his arrival to New Zealand. And that all came about really from the crunching challenge from James Collins, who went flying in, but Rodriguez was there to pick up the scraps, and he found the bottom corner, and how. What a scoreline we have here, Paul Eiffel.
Yeah, I'm pretty shocked, to be honest. I thought we'd give a good account of ourselves, but to be 2-0 up after 30-odd minutes is pretty exciting.
We've had another yellow card issued in all the excitement. I think it was Albert Riera for the latest challenge to leave Carlton Cole dumped on the seat of his pants. Well, Ernie Merrick will be loving this. His team has followed his instructions down to the letter.
Absolutely, but knowing Ernie, he'll want us to keep onto the work that we've done so far and carry on with it.
So free kick for the Hammers. It's too deep though for James Collins. That'll be a goal kick. Well, if you're just tuning in, don't readjust your sets. That's not a typo in the top corner of the screen on the left. Wellington Phoenix are 2 goals to the good, courtesy of Andy Durante and their new signing Alex Rodriguez. And just to correct that yellow card that was issued, I said it might have gone to Albert Riera. In fact, it's gone to the young fullback Tom Doyle for the challenge on Carlton Cole. So we've had 3 bookings, 2 goals, a couple of injuries. We've not played half an hour yet. There might be another one here. Jeremy Brockie trying to get in on the scoring act.
Great play.
And grateful to grasp at the ball.
Yeah, great play again by Nathan Burns down the right. Gets to the byline and gets his cross in. Good position with Brockie to take up, and header was a bit weak in the end, but nice to see the chances are still coming.
Here's Carlton Cole again, who's been heavily involved one way or the other in these opening stages. A couple of clattering challenges on him, a couple of half chances for him inside the Phoenix penalty area. But when Phoenix have had the chance, Paul Eiffel, they have, West Ham, been rather open for business defensively.
Yeah, definitely. I think they've taken the initiatives. Like I said in the pre-game, it was important to be confident, take a few risks and really take it to West Ham, and they've done so and matched it as well on the physical side, which I think we didn't see enough of that from Sydney last night, and thankfully we're seeing that tonight. So it'll be interesting to see how the game goes from here.
And I'm not sure they expected this. A little bit subdued in claret and blue.
Yeah, I think they can still definitely get back in the game. I would imagine they'll be looking to get a goal before half-time, and Big Sam will be able to get them in the changing sheds and make a few changes maybe.
Well, they say the scoreline means nothing in pre-season friendlies, but if you're Wellington Phoenix, I'm not sure you agree with that at the moment. Manny Muscat's picked up a whack. He's a tough boy. He'll be all right.
Yeah, Manny's got his own black book as well, so he'll have noted that one down.
Tyler Boyd's too clever. Nathan Burns, they just telegraphed that one towards Brocky, and Collins was stationed in exactly the right position. Those little openings just keep appearing for Wellington.
Yeah, they're taking a chance, and just again, that was the final ball. There, if he gets that through to Jeremy Brocky, is a chance on goal. But when Newcastle were capitalising on those mistakes last night, West Ham haven't done so far.
That was a really good turn from Alba Riera, and there was a foul by Kuyate. Peter Leary correctly has allowed play to continue, played the advantage. And the crowd's really into this game, and they appreciated that from Riera. He's becoming a bit of a hero in these parts.
He's been a brilliant signing. I said in the pre-game, great story, came over as a backpacker, and finds himself playing against West Ham tonight. Been selected for the All-Stars and will be playing against Juventus in a couple of weeks, so fair play to him, and you can see he's not out of place out there. He's been a really good find.
I think he used to be a trained paramedic as well.
Which is always a bonus.
Job, wasn't it?
Always a bonus, just in case, yeah.
Here's Noble. Cresswell. Off-season arrival from Ipswich Town. That was West Ham's last friendly before they left the UK. They drew 0-0 at Portman Road. Cresswell got his send-off. Suggestion of a handball there against Tyler Boyd. Not intentional, according to Peter O'Leary. And this is Nathan Burns. He had a great spell on loan at Newcastle midway through last season. Now arriving at Wellington on a 2-year deal. Plenty to come from him, you'd imagine.
I'd like to hope so. I thought he was great last year, like you said, at Newcastle. Played particularly well against us down in Napier. And Ernie spoke very highly of him. And I think when the opportunity came to be able to get somebody in like him, it was obvious that we were going to try and do so. So fair play to the Phoenix for getting somebody of that calibre over.
He's got a lot to prove. He was one of those unlucky youngsters that in Australia are tagged with the next Harry Kewell moniker. When he first burst onto the scene with Adelaide United, it's not quite worked out for him in the intervening years. He's now 26. It's almost a case of now or never for him, really.
Yeah, I think so. 26 is not a bad age. I think he's, obviously got pedigree. He'll be wanting to get back into the Socceroos selection. 4 years away is a World Cup, and he'll only be 30 years old. So that's got to be his aim.
Here's Carlton Cole again. Now Kuyate. West Ham starting to press. Jarvis. Cresswell pushing forward. Jarvis trying to curl it. Glenn Moss happy to see that one round the post. He's been their biggest threat, Jarvis.
To be honest, I think he's been their only threat so far. It's been pretty lacklustre from West Ham, which I'm pretty surprised about. They're quite a way through their pre-season, and to have only somebody at the races. Jarvis looks like the only one so far. Coles has threatened now and then. They look like they've missed the the big physical presence of Andy Cole up front with Cole at the moment.
Flick on from Kevin Nolan, and Diaby's stolen it. This could be problems for Wellington. Jarvis dinks it past Manny Muscat. There's cover arriving now. Jarvis trying to find the room for the cross, which he does, but there's nobody at the back post for West Ham.
More good work from Jarvis down this left-hand side. He's given Manny Muscat a bit of a tough time, but again, there's nobody making any decent runs in the middle. Carlton Cole looked a bit flat-footed there. Diame looked a bit disinterested at the back post. You expect to see Nolan arriving at pace there, but just misjudged the flight of the ball a little bit, I think.
What's your take, Paul, on the Andy Carroll situation? Been a bit of speculation today about what's going on and why he's not involved. The official line is it's an injury.
Oh, here's a tough one. If it's an injury, why does he not stay here with the senior physios? That would be my question. I suppose we'll find out in the next few days. I would imagine there could be a transfer in the cards. And being a Newcastle supporter, obviously the Phoenix have not got enough money for him, so after that it would be Newcastle would be the desired destination, in my opinion.
Maybe Ernie's put a bid in, you don't know.
You never know. I think you might be still looking for a striker.
Rob Morrison, the club owner, is here today. Maybe Ernie's asking to open the checkbook. Not sure it stretches that far. Anyway, so far, so very, very good for Wellington here this evening. They've landed a couple of big punches on the jaw of the Premier League heavyweights. Tom Doyle seems to have settled down after those early scares, and Tyler Boyd right in the challenge nicely. They'll look to create something down the right here through Louis Fenton. Muscat involved, and Rodriguez, Riera. Two Spaniards combining together, and again we've got cries of Olé from the yellow fever in the stands. Muscat. They have not been overawed in the slightest, Wellington, but they've given the ball away there. And Diame will race away over halfway. He's only got Carlton Cole and Kevin Nolan for support. He might not need them. He's still going, Diame. Good run, not the finish to match.
Good feet by the big man there. Stole the ball in midfield and went on a good run, but the Phoenix boys got back in numbers. I think the difference we've seen tonight, if that had been Newcastle last night, there'd have been more numbers streaming forward, and we're not really seeing that. Like I said, the man on the ball didn't have too many options, and in the end had to go on his own, and a poor shot over the bar.
Senegalese international Mohamed Diame, 20 caps for his country, played at the London Olympics a couple of years ago, which of course New Zealand were involved in as well. Almost didn't go to West Ham a couple of years back, nearly signed for Liverpool when Kenny Dalglish was the manager there, but his removal as boss meant that deal fell through. Ended up in London instead of Liverpool. There's some room here for Diame, and his compatriot Guy Demel pushing forward from right fullback. Back for Diame. Cole waiting for the cross, which doesn't arrive. Clearance by Sigmund. Demel again. Well, Wellington have been solid in the challenge. They've been focused. They've been disciplined. There's a couple of early headers from Carlton Cole aside. They haven't really been overly troubled.
Yeah, I think Ernie will be pleased with how it's gone so far. He'll definitely want to get into half-time with it at the score 2-0 at least, which is strange to say. I can't believe I'm actually saying that, but they've been very good value so far. Oh, that's a bad challenge.
Yep, the arm came out. Now, what action does referee Peter O'Leary take? Guy Demel playing the innocents. Tyler Boyd is okay. Here's what happens. The elbow to the throat of Tyler Boyd. Maybe slightly over-egged it.
I think so. I called it a bad challenge. I'm not so sure. Probably overreacted a bit. He caught him slightly.
Boyd certainly guilty of holding in the first instance, hence the free kick for West Ham. No further action required in the opinion of Peter O'Leary. It's a decent turn from Louis Fenton. Good to see him back on the park after that horrible shoulder injury he suffered last season as well.
Yeah, he had a few injuries with the shoulder last season. Eventually had the operation, and it's been a tough road to get back. He played a lot of last season at right full-back. He's employed further up the pitch tonight, and I think he's done pretty well.
Let's go down again to David Choates. David.
Interesting on the sideline, guys. It's the West Ham bench that now feels the pressure. You'd have to think that the lone striker up front and big Carlton Cole suits the Ernie Merrick side. It allows Ben Sigmund to sit in and battle. It's the old-fashioned centre-forward game that sort of seems to be drifting out of the game. West Ham are employing the big man up front. It hasn't paid off for them in the opening, 40 minutes. You've got to think there must be changes at half-time. The only player, I think, troubling at the moment is Jarvis down the left-hand side.
Yeah, I agree with that, David. Maybe we might see Argentine Zarate in the second half. Of course, that has been the focus of criticism from many West Ham fans, the style of play that Sam Allardyce plays or employs. Demel will be too strong for Wellington Phoenix on that far left-hand side, and it's Kouyaté who'll bring it forward. What's your take on it, Paul? Are they too direct?
I think at the moment with the formation, this setup, I think the focal point is Carlton Cole. It's very similar to when Andy Carroll plays. You look for the big man up top. Obviously, the signings he's made in people like Zarate and Enner Valencia, you'd like to think they could play a little bit more through the front men and link up from midfield, because people like Noble and Nolan are certainly good enough on the ball to play that side of football.
Also be interesting to see if we get a look at Diego Poyet, son, of course, of Gus Poyet.
Yeah, no pressure on the young lad. His father was some player who I was very fond of watching. If he's anything like his dad, he'll be somebody who's obviously a decent player and he can put his foot in as well.
That's the rumour as to how he plays. Arrived during the off-season from Charlton Athletic. Maybe we'll see him in the second half. The first half has certainly been pretty good, pretty kind to Wellington Phoenix. And they've got their game plan spot on, at least for the moment. Demel trying to get things moving for West Ham. This is Diame. Inside is Noble. Little poke forward for Carlton Cole. It's all just a little bit predictable from West Ham. What was that difference in finance that we talked about pre-game, Paul? 22 million that West Ham paid for Enner Valencia. That would cover almost the entire salary cap for the whole of the Hyundai A-League.
Yeah, it's talking telephone numbers, that sort of stuff. I mean, you look at what they've paid for people like that, and at the moment, it makes no difference, really. I think the Phoenix are set up very well to combat whatever West Ham have thrown at them so far.
The old saying goes, it is still, and always will be, 11 against 11. And here's Burns, one of the Phoenix 11. Good turn as well to shake off the attentions of Kouyaté. Doyle inside, Burns there again. Tyler Boyd through the legs of Noble. Growing in confidence, the Knicks. Rodriguez for Muscat. And Boyd doesn't even bother going for that one.
Yeah, poor ball there for Manny Muscat, but I think there's a good build-up, some nice play, keeping possession in the opposing half, and he'll be pleased with that. He's always talking about possession in the opposing half is the most important thing, so he'll be pleased with how the boys are going so far.
Half-time, fast approaching on almost perfect evening for football here in Auckland. It's gone right according to the script for Ernie Merrick's team thus far. Look at the room again between the lines. Pre-season or not for West Ham, that's something that will not please Sam Allardyce, and there might have been a hint of a foul there from Mark Noble as well.
Yeah, I think he just leaned in, but I think after Boyd's theatrics in the last challenge, Peter O'Leary was not going to give him the benefit of that one.
This is Demel. Cole offering. That's well anticipated again by Wellington in the shape of Andrew Durante. Now he's got a retreat. There's plenty of talking going on in that Phoenix backline as well. Always helps when you have players like Durante and Sigmund, very vocal and experience, competence in the defensive line.
Absolutely, you've got the captain and the vice-captain there, you know, been around the club for a long time, and they'll be helping the likes of Tom Doyle through this. I think Doyle's definitely grown into the game as it's gone on, got a little bit tighter on the man on the ball right now.
Here is Mohamed Diame, slips it in field for Kouyaté, who's late on Sigmund, and in fact on Durante. And Durante will just go and have a word with Peter O'Leary and inquire as to why he's not taken further action against Kouyaté. In fairness to him, as we move into stoppage time at the end of the first half, Paul, I think Kouyaté was the victim himself in the early stages of 1 or 2 tasty ones.
I think Kouyaté was due one, and he's gone and shook Durante's hand there, which is nice to see. But a bit of a naughty tackle. But like I said, I think he is able to give one back. He's had a bit of a tough first half.
Well, there's certainly been a fair bit in this, plenty to talk about. There we go, half-time whistle blows, and what a first half for the A-League outfit. Goals from captain Andy Durante, and then with Alex Rodriguez giving the A-League outfit a 2-goal cushion at the break. Matt Jarvis has been handy for West Ham. Carlton Cole has had a couple of half chances. Those in claret and blue a little bit disappointed at the break. The scoreline reading Wellington Phoenix 2, West Ham United 0.
Don't hold your breath. This team, the Wellington Phoenix, lead 2-0. That's right, 2-0 at half-time against West Ham United here at Eden Park in Game 2 of the Carlsberg Football United Tour. Stephen McIver, Jacob Spoonley here at half-time to run you through the highlights of the first half, because there have been plenty of them. And I've got to say, Jacob, the fans will be very, very excited about this.
Well, yeah, it means one of two things. Either the Phoenix are going to hold out and get a very famous win, or we're going to see a West Ham comeback. Either way, I think everyone's going to get their money worth.
Well, let's take a look at the highlights, because they've got everybody on their feet pretty excited. Not so probably if you're a West Ham United fan, but let's have a look at this. Early on, Matt Jarvis down the left-hand side, creating all sorts of bother.
Yeah, he's been the common denominator for West Ham going forward in this first half. His delivery into the box has been fantastic, and the Phoenix have been lucky at times.
A couple of chances by Carlton Cole. Great face save by Glenn Moss.
Off the cheek, always like that as a goalkeeper.
And then here we go. Noble pulls down
Nathan Burns.
And look at the speed from Rodriguez.
Yeah, exactly. Great delivery into the box. But I think frustratingly, from West Ham's point of view, is that set pieces are something that they're known for. Both in the front of part of the park, getting the balls into the box and getting goals from that. And then defensively, they should have cleared that.
Smiles from Andy Durant, and again, Matt Jarvis on the go again. It Crows, making it very hard for Manny Muscat down that side.
Yeah, Manny Muscat's getting a bit of a workover. And look at the bodies in the box from West Ham. Good early delivery. And Glenn Moss again, scrambling to keep that one out.
They look a little bit at odds, and then here we go again, and this was a really good piece of play. Fenton goes down, gets back, Rodriguez, and away he goes.
Louis Fenton is one of those players. He's a full-blooded player. He was playing right back for the Phoenix last season, and then, who's this guy? Alex Rodriguez, A-Rod, announcing himself to the Phoenix faithful.
Oh, and you've just thrown it out. From here on in, it's A-Rod. Okay, so the Phoenix have an A-Rod as we look at the numbers from the first half here at Eden Park. The most important one, quite simply, is 2-0. But look at the possession statistics. It's almost 70-30 West Ham.
Exactly. We were expecting that coming into the game, given that West Ham are a premiership team. But at the World Cup, we saw that possession doesn't win you games, and we're probably seeing that again tonight.
Take a look at the second half. Shots on goal, 4 plays 5. 2 of those, of course, are the important ones for the Wellington Phoenix. 17 balls in the penalty area. That says they're doing a lot of work in getting it where they want it to, but not converting.
Exactly right. It's something I'll probably allude to later on, but Moneyball was talked about as a fad in football a couple of years ago. Perhaps this is Big Sam football that we're seeing tonight. A very economic approach.
All right, now you've been having a good look at this at West Ham first of all.
Yeah, that's right. So as we see, set pieces, perhaps not delivering into the box straight away, but Matt Jarvis again. And look how many players they've got in their 18-yard box. We've got 4 from West Ham, good delivery in, a knockdown. Mossy did well to hang on to that one. Again, Guy Demel this time with the delivery. 3 West Ham players in the box, ball getting delivered in, and they'll look to get either a header on goal or knockdown for another player arriving late in the box. Matt Jarvis, he's been part of everything good that West Ham has done so far. Again, 4 players in the box between the 18-yard and the 6-yard line. A knockdown this time. Mossy did well to scramble. But this is a key thing. Look, as we can see here, Durante coming out of the line. He's looking to win the ball, being very positive. Matt Jarvis floating the ball into the box. I mean, he's been the one that's he's looked premiership quality for a side that's in pre-season so far. Some of the other players maybe not as interested, but maybe to the start of the pre-season. This is what we've seen from West Ham.
All right, Matt Jarvis incredible on that left-hand side, creating all sorts of bother, but they just cannot convert. And you can imagine Big Sam Allardyce is going to be hammering them, completely hammering them at halftime.
Exactly. Coming down to New Zealand, they would have been expected to win. And given that Sydney got a working over by Newcastle last night, perhaps they took their foot off the pedal slightly.
All right, let's talk about Nathan Burns. What has impressed you about Nathan Burns?
The way that he's been an outlet for the Phoenix when they've got the ball. They haven't had the ball much in the first half. We saw that from the stats. But when they have, he's been the player that's allowed them time to get up the pitch, and he's also looked dangerous with the ball at his feet. He's created a number of opportunities, including one free kick that was brilliantly converted by Andrew Durante. But he's really been the centre of everything that has been good for the Phoenix going forward so far.
The one thing that's impressed everyone, I think everybody's sitting back going, the Phoenix look so composed out there. They don't look too worried, despite the amount of possession that West Ham have.
I'd say that is an Ernie Merrick trait. This is a Phoenix team that's 12 months into the Ernie Merrick revolution. Perhaps last year we saw them only a few weeks in, and they weren't as good as they currently are. So Ernie's really got a lot to be grateful for. And he's let his players play with freedom as well. Going forward, they've been allowed to express themselves.
Show me you're excited. You're excited, aren't you? Yeah, there you go. All right, let's go TAB time, tab.co.nz. Gamble responsibly. The numbers have changed, I can tell you. Right, think about this. Wellington started at $7.50 for the win. They've dived right back down to $1.40. West Ham started at $1.30. Someone threw a bunch of cash on it. They've just gone up to $5. And if you want the draw, it's $5. So suddenly, a good old little A-League side is taking all the money and looking great, and everybody thinks they can win. Now, the question is, if you come out in the second half and you're Ernie Merrick, you don't just clear your bench late in the game, do you? You've got to be very careful in what you do, because they're looking really strong out there.
Yeah, exactly. West Ham have been threatening throughout the majority of the first half. And what Ernie will be happy with is that he's converted and he's given himself a buffer heading into the second half. But yeah, you're right. Pre-season is usually the time where you give 1 or 2 fringe players perhaps more of an opportunity than they would necessarily get during the season. But I don't see that happening at this point in time.
You're not going to be doing this right now. I tell you what was really interesting quite quickly. Carlton Cole looked really strong for about 20 minutes. Then it's gone quiet.
I think that's one of the criticisms that's been made of Carlton Cole throughout his career, because he's a big, strong striker, and you see him impose himself at times, but at other times he goes missing, and that's perhaps why he hasn't gone to a larger club, and perhaps why he's been at West Ham.
All right, Jacob Spinley doing the halftime analysis, and a great job he has done too. It is 2-0. The Wellington Phoenix lead West Ham United at halftime here at Eden Park in game number 2 of the Carlsberg Football United Tour. Get on it. There's another half just around the corner.
Well, a few years ago, Wellington Phoenix beat Boca. Here in Auckland tonight, they're halfway to hammering the Hammers. They lead by 2-0, incredibly. Alex Rodriguez with his first goal for his new club, following on from Andy Durante's header. A goal and an assist for the Spaniard. He's made an impression. Those in yellow and black stripes have certainly made an impression. The big question is, what response will we get in this second half from West Ham United? There needs to be one. Otherwise, their fan base, which have shouted for a few things over the last 12 months, certainly towards their manager Sam Allardyce, might be directing a few more expletives towards that particular part of the ground. Wellington Phoenix don't care. They like playing here at Eden Park. They played 2 A-League games here in their short history. They haven't lost either of those games. And of course, in pre-season so far, albeit against much lower standard opposition, they played 5 and won 5. Winning is a nice habit to have, and they're halfway to claiming another big scalp here in Auckland. Winston Reid on his comeback to his hometown. It wasn't supposed to be like this for the Premier League giants. You've got I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles playing on the tannoy in the background, perhaps trying to lift Sam Allardyce's team. They did look a little flat in that first half. A couple of half chances created by the wing trickery of Matt Jarvis. Carlton Cole went close a couple of times. Can they put Wellington under a bit more pressure in this second half? No changes made by either manager or coach Paul Eiffel, but we'd expect that to change as this game goes on.
Ernie will definitely look to make changes. I think the boys are not ready to be playing 90 minutes just yet. In terms of West Ham and Sam Allardyce has probably said to them, look, go out there and change things around. You know, I'm going to give you 11 the chance to go out and show people that you can play better than you have done so far.
As we mentioned in the first half, Paul, results don't necessarily matter, but in the case of West Ham, when you're playing an A-League outfit such as Wellington Phoenix, you expect to win, don't you?
Yeah, again, this will, you know, they won't be happy going back with a result like this at all. This will be well reported, I'm sure, in the papers back home, and there'll be talk again of Sam Allardyce and the way his team's set up, and it's pressure that he doesn't need, so he'll be expecting them to play better this second half and come away with some kind of result.
Now, Giame did get more involved in the contest as the first half wore on, and he's earned his team a corner. Cross taking just the slightest of deflections, and those West Ham fans that have gathered behind Glenn Moss's goal starting to find their voice as Noble delivers the corner. Wellington deal with it, at least for the moment. Back in by Jarvis. That might have been a hand used by Tyler Boyd inadvertently. West Ham will try and set it up again through Guy Demel. Crossfield ball, an awkward one for Carlton Cole to try and control. It's cleared up field by Louis Fenton, and Wellington have not been afraid to put themselves about a bit, have stolen the ball in the shape of Jeremy Brockie. If the transition could have been a bit quicker there, Paul, they might have been in again. Yeah, just a couple of loose passes there and it slowed things down, but again, good work from Jeremy Brockie, pressing high up the pitch, looking for that support and held the ball up well. Muscat's full of confidence, getting clear of Jarvis, finding a teammate, Louis Fenton, who's challenged fairly though by Collins. And there's Muscat again, looking for Jeremy Brockie first time. Well, their tails are really up, Wellington.
It's amazing what a couple of goals can do for anybody. We talked about it last night. Newcastle, a little bit slow out of the blocks, but once you get the goals under your belt, you instantly feel better, whatever level you're playing at. So definitely the Phoenix with their tails up and trying a few things now, which is good to see.
Noble for Kevin Nolan. Cresswell for the tricky Matt Jarvis. He's caused a couple of problems. Cross is a little bit too deep for not only Carlton Cole, but for everyone. And that'll be a goal kick. Glenn Moss, the Wellington goalkeeper, was, I think, with Gold Coast United the last and indeed only time an A-League outfit has beaten an English Premier League team. Gold Coast beating Fulham by 2-1. That was back in 2009. Gold Coast no longer exist. So this would be a real feather in the cap of Wellington if they could hang on and get the result here. Now there's another injury concern for Winston Reid, who's taken a whack to the bonds. What must he be thinking, Paul? Well, probably my head hurts at the moment, but in terms of the context of the game, here he is, the Kiwi hero, coming back with his big Premier League team, and he finds them 2 goals down against the local boys.
Yeah, I think he'll feel a little bit embarrassed. I don't think he's been poor himself. I think he's been pretty good. But, you know, there's plenty around him that need to, ship up a little bit. They've not been good enough so far up to this point. I mean, it's important they give a better showing, really. He's trying to drive them on as captain, but at the moment it's a tough gig because they still look very lacklustre and they need to step up a gear, really.
Accidental clash of heads with Alex Rodriguez, formerly with the Sunderland youth teams before arriving in Wellington, and he's scored an excellent goal here already this evening. Sure, he'll be looking forward to playing against Newcastle at the weekend, erstwhile local rivals for his team in England.
Yep, bit of a rivalry there, absolutely.
Ben Sigma putting his foot through the ball and getting it out of harm's way. And two of his teammates just dallying a little too long. Slip on the turf from Boyd. Collins takes over for West Ham. And this is Diame. Good challenge by Doyle, who's grown into the role after a slightly nervy start.
Yeah, I think, obviously going to be nervous. He's a young lad, probably playing for the first time against anybody of this sort of calibre, and I think he's acquitted himself pretty well so far. Diame is a bit of a tricky customer, big and strong and quite direct, but he's stood up to the challenge so far, and again a nice sliding challenge there.
Diame winning it back. This is Noble, back for Kouyaté. Square is Aaron Cresswell. Really the sort of ball that Matt Jarvis wants. Need to play the ball to feet with the Hammers winger, really. That's where he does his best work. Winston Reid okay after that accidental clash of heads with Rodriguez. Noble. Diame. Had to drift inside, really. There was nobody outside of him to provide the width. Instead, they've got plenty of it on the left here with Jarvis and Cresswell, who's on the ball now. Slips it through the legs of the defender. Good work by the fullback. Not the best cross, in fairness. Easily cleared by Sigmund. Nathan Burns picking up the scraps. Solid challenge coming in, though, from Jarvis.
It's good
Collins
work
to set it up again. Sorry, Paul.
That's all right. Good work down the left again. I think somebody's got to make that run across the near post. It's too easy for Ben Sigmund just to clear that. Quite an easy position he's picked up, and nobody going across the near. I think Nolan or Carlton Cole's got to make that run.
Now drop of the shoulder from Burns, firing it in towards Brocky. They could be in for a third here. Tom Doyle had made the run forward from left back. Tidied up by Noble. Lost the line in to effect the clearance. One thing I've liked about Wellington is they've tried to pressure West Ham. Whenever they've got on the ball, they've tried to shut them down quickly.
Yeah, I think we thought it would be the other way around, and it would be really tough for Wellington to get out, and that West Ham would be pressing hard at the pitch, but we've definitely turned things around, and West Ham have found it hard to find a way through and took some passes.
Here's Nathan Burns looking to attack the defender, Guy Demel, and he floats it towards the far post, and it just drops on top of the net. Wellington want a corner. Peter O'Leary's signalled a goal kick. And a little glimpse of what Nathan Burns can do when he's in the mood.
Yeah, good feet. He's a tricky customer. Got at the full-back there, and I'm not sure whether it took a slight deflection. He certainly thought so.
Wellington had committed a few numbers to attack there, so a little bit light on defensively, but Tom Doyle again stands up well to Diame. Very composed from the youngster. Here's Fenton, who was the up-and-coming star of 2 seasons ago. I remember watching his debut against Sydney FC, scored a flying header that day, and he thought, wow, watch this kid go. And then, of course, the injury really curtailed his involvement last season. Important campaign coming up for him. Here's Riera, looking for and finding Brocky, but only briefly. Winston Reid stands him up. That's good strength from Carlton Cole. He's got away from Sigmund, who's battling manfully to get back. Goal side of the big striker. This is Jarvis, looking to get around Manny Muscat. He's got the cross in. Away by Riera. Noble picking up the loose ball. Trying to steer it into that top corner, but no real direction on the shots. No real problem for Moss or the Knicks.
Yeah, good play again from Carlton Cole. Not many people in the A-League can do what he just did to Ben Sigmund there, but a great run back from Ben, and he manages to hold him up, and in the end finds his way to Noble, and a pretty poor effort over the bar.
Now we're going to have our first substitution of the contest. Tyler Boyd is going to be replaced by Kenny Cunningham, who's got plenty of pace about him. And will give West Ham perhaps just another little problem to think about.
Yeah, pretty much like for like. Kenny, like you said, very, very quick. Somebody who had a pretty decent season last season and was pretty unfortunate not to make the Costa Rica national squad for the World Cup. Obviously, they performed very well, which you'll be pleased with, but looking to get back in that side over the next couple of years. Probably got another World Cup in him if things go right.
Blimey, after how they went in Brazil, might be a tough ask to get into that squad.
Absolutely, but if he can do the business for us, there's no reason why he can't get back in there and force the coach's hand, I suppose.
With a real surprise packet of the 2014 World Cup. Wellington have certainly given West Ham a bit of a surprise here in Auckland this evening. Says Burns. He's looking to find the room to release Fenton. Demel a bit too strong. Run out of play by Kenny Cunningham, his first involvement. Demel under pressure, and Cunningham's picked his pockets, and Demel is forced into bringing him down right on the edge of the box. That's a good first involvement really for Kenny Cunningham, and he just has a little glance at Demel and says, yep, I'm here, don't you worry about that. Again,
showing his pace there. He's pressed really high up the pitch, and West Ham, you think that by now, nearly 60 minutes in, they'd be used to that, but keep getting caught out and giving the Phoenix chances high up the pitch.
He's a slippery customer, isn't he, Kenny Cunningham? More diminutive in stature than Guy Demel, and he was able to wriggle clear. Another problem for Jussi Jääskeläinen, the 39-year-old Hammers goalkeeper. It's whipped in by Rodriguez towards the far post and dealt with by Aaron Cresswell. Manny Muscat to redistribute it back towards the Hammers penalty area, where it's met on the full by Collins. Now Diame to bring it forward. Kouyaté. Signs of life perhaps on the West Ham bench. No changes made as yet by Sam Allardyce. I don't think that's going to remain the case for too long as we approach the hour mark here at Eden Park. Noble looking for a little bit more from his teammates. Indignant arm outstretched. As if to say, let's have a bit of movement.
Absolutely. Somebody's got to get on the ball, and Noble's running around quite a lot here, but not really getting on it and commanding the play.
Well, this game you fancy, Paul. I know it sounds obvious to say at 2 goals up, but it's there for the taking for Wellington.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, carry on doing what they've been doing, and if they could nick another goal on the counter, maybe that could be a good night for West Ham.
Cunningham wanted a foul. He's not going to get one. This is Riera. Cunningham. Burns says, give it to me. Cunningham delayed too long. Carlton Cole. It's going to be a double change presently for West Ham. Stuart Downing and the new boy, Mauro Zarate, standing by.
Yeah, I think Allardyce has to make some changes, obviously. It'd be nice to see Zarate get on. He's got an excellent goal-scoring record in Argentina. Let's see if he can translate that over to here.
Well, there's still plenty of time in this game, Paul, but overall, West Ham haven't been able to grab this contest by the scruff of the neck and pin Wellington back in for any sustained period of time.
Yeah, you'd think they'd have a spell. I mean, in any game, normally there's a spell of pressure. And so far, the Phoenix have not really had to deal with that.
They've had moments, haven't they? But
yeah,
nothing
moments,
more.
but nothing sustained. And I'm quite surprised at that. I thought that, you know, at some point West Ham had to come. It still may happen, but Phoenix holding firm for now.
Nice touch by Rodriguez, and a shot flies in from long range off Nathan Burns. Raskalainen, I think, had it covered. Another good moment for Wellington Phoenix.
Yeah, Nathan Burns there showing that he can shoot off either side. Not a bad strike from distance.
Well, Carlton Cole has taken his leave to be replaced by the new boy, Mauro Zarate. There he is, the Argentine. West Ham have shelled out a bit of money to recruit him. As you said in the pre-game show, Paul, he's scored a bag full of goals wherever he's been, except, strangely enough, his previous spell in England with Birmingham City, where he rather struggled to acclimatise to the Premier League. And just confirmation that one of the other new boys, Cheku Kuyate, has been replaced by Stuart Downing as well for the Hammers. Meantime, here come the Knicks again. Jeremy Brockie, and a chance here for Kenny Cunningham. The angle was narrowing all the time, and he just grazed the side netting of Costa Rica.
Yeah, I think you've been a bit generous there with the graze of the side netting, but he could have probably cut back and got the ball across. Jeremy Brockie made a good run inside and flicked the ball outside to him. Little cut back and across a 6-yard box would have probably been the better option, but nice to see them still going at West Ham.
Wellington making their second change as well. Matthew Rydenton to replace Louis Fenton. I think there's a poem in there somewhere.
You try it and you know it.
Matthew Rydenton was another one I enjoyed watching in his little cameos last season in the A-League. Comes from good football stock, of course. His father, a former All-White.
Yeah, he's a really, really good kid. Someone who's absolutely gagging to learn. Somebody I really enjoyed working with last season. Very willing runner, nice and fit. So he's, you know, like you said, comes from good stock. So definitely got a chance, and he's got all the attributes. So hopefully a big season for him this year.
Well, the strength of tonight's evidence, and really given West Ham's performance, it's difficult to draw too many conclusions, but you would hope that overall Wellington as a team would have a much better season in the Hyundai A-League.
Yeah, I think whatever the result ends up here, I think, you know, for 60-odd minutes we've been just about as good, if not better, than West Ham, and I think, you know, most people, most supporters of the Phoenix would be happy with that.
Zarate trying to borrow his way through after earlier good work again by Matt Jarvis, who's really been the shining light for West Ham this evening. That's really good persistence by Jeremy Brockie. He certainly had his shirt held there as well. Winston Reid, his international teammate.
Yeah, a bit of niggle there. Nice to see, but I think Jeremy's done a lot of work up front. Not too much reward in front of goal, not had too many chances, but he's definitely worked very, very hard tonight.
Covered a lot of ground, as Corey Gamero did last night too. Well, not too much effect really for Sydney FC. Wellington have posed a far greater threat in front of goal. Rodriguez picking the pocket of Zarate, and again, neatly done by Wellington. They are full of confidence. Here's Burns. Brockie. The applause you can hear in the background, and we had similar in the first half, is again to commemorate the passing of those two Newcastle United fans, which is nice to see. That challenge, perhaps less so, from Winston Reid. Nathan Burns a little bit winded on the back of that.
Yeah, I think a little bit of frustration there for Winston Reid. Things are not going well for his team. Stepped in and a foul there. Hopefully we'll see a decent set piece here.
Well, there we go. The big screen needs no words from me. Here's the set piece from the Knicks. Demel releasing Stuart Downing. Former England winger who's predominantly left-footed but starts on the right, and he's been caught there, I think, by Riera. And I think had that been a competitive game, I was going to say get a yellow card. I think he has got a yellow card anyway, friendly or not.
I think that's what you call a professional foul.
I think you do. Downing just a little bit too quick with the feet, and Riera lunge again, just catching the heels of the England flanker. Phoenix fans, you can hear, not too impressed.
It was very, very slight, the challenge, but I think if you're running at full tilt, it doesn't take much to put you over.
Downing won the free kick and will take it. Riera, who conceded it, heads it clear. And then Cresswell miscontrols it. Drops kindly here for Mauro Zarate. Chance for him to make a name for himself, perhaps. Instead, they come back towards halfway, and Winston Reid. Cresswell. Can't find Jarvis. Instead, the Knicks will launch a counter. They'll look for Kenny Cunningham. They won't find him, though. Demel keeping it alive for the Hammers. Under 25 minutes to go. Downing running straight into traffic in the shape of Riera, and again, this is where Wellington can do some of their best work on the counter, but Burns too has run into a cul-de-sac and there's no foul. Peter O'Leary well positioned.
What you see there from Albert Riera is definitely what we missed at the back end of last season. He reads the game so well, steps in and takes it off people's toes all the time. It's a massive attribute for Wellington. Must keep him fit this season.
Zarate. Diarno drifting inside now that Stuart Downing is on to provide the width on the right flank. Kenny Cunningham trying to slalom his way through. Again, there's no whistle despite the cries of the home fans. And instead, Collins releasing Downing. Danger here perhaps for the Knicks. Tom Doyle trying to show him the line. He knows he's all left foot, and he's done well there again, the young fullback. It's really good game smarts.
Absolutely, just held him up, waited for a bit of support, and when it came, they managed to nick the ball and clear it, and keep in possession again.
Not only that, Paul, but knew that he was instinctively left-footed, so wanted to cut inside, and you saw Doyle trying to show him the outside, show him the line. Go on, use your right foot if you're good enough.
Absolutely, I mean, it's all things that Ernie will be watching tonight, and for me, I think he's had a great 67 odd minutes. I think he's been excellent, and he's done himself the world of good tonight.
Well, a couple of changes going to be made shortly by Sam Allardyce. It's just a lunge, a frustrated lunge, and nothing more from James Collins. There's Ernie Merrick, who'll be delighted. There is a West Ham connection on the bench for Wellington. Goalkeeping coach Jonathan Gould, of course, the son of Bobby Gould, who was an FA Cup winner with West Ham all the way back in 1975. Here are the changes for West Ham. James Collins to be replaced by another James, Tompkins. And Guy Demel is going to make way in favour of Joey O'Brien. So Sam Allardyce ringing the changes. Will it bring about a change in fortunes? Fortune's always hiding, as the old song goes. It certainly is at the moment for the Hammers.
Yeah, I can't see it at the moment. Like we've said, been lacklustre all night, and not much has changed with the subs so far. Hoping to see a bit more of Zarate. Downing's been quite lively down this side without really producing too much.
Albert Riera has been terrific in midfield for the Knicks. Real boost to have him back this season.
Yeah, he's carried on from where he left off. Like I said, the injury was tough for him last season and tough for the club in general, but it's good to see him back. I would imagine he might be making way soon, because I don't know if he's got 90 minutes in him. Still on recovery, on the road to recovery, sorry.
Easy header, one in the air by Muscats, and there's time for Nix to try and set it up, but wayward pass towards Kenny Cunningham. Sam Allardyce up in the stands, deep in conversation on the mobile phone. Wellington readying another change beneath us as well. Looks like Roy Krishna, Paul, is getting stripped and ready for action.
Yeah, another one who'll be chomping at the bit to get on the pitch. Again, very direct, very quick. He'll be looking to get a little run at the West Ham defence, tiring West Ham defence.
O'Brien back for Tompkins. Noble finding the space for Downing. This is better from West Ham. Zarate cannons back off Ben Sigmund. Rebound falls kindly for West Ham in the shape of Diame. Now Jarvis, who's been busy all night. And Zarate, Mauro Zarate! That's an excellent finish. And West Ham are back in the game. Mauro Zarate has his first goal for his new club. And they've got something to cheer those Hammers fans at last.
Great finish from Zarate. Nice little bit of movement. Let's have a look at the replay. Yeah, nice little step inside, past Albert Riera, and the finish was excellent in Glenn Moss's near post. He's just thrown the eyes in and reversed it. Lovely finish.
Well, showing the sort of quality that West Ham have paid big money for. Ben Sigmund on to please.
Siggy is
typical
never
fare from Siggy, isn't it?
Oh, he's never pleased. Never pleased anyway, but when the ball's in the back of the net, he's even worse. But
now the changes coming thick and fast. Roy Krishna has indeed replaced Jeremy Brockie for Wellington. More changes afoot for West Ham. Mark Noble is to be replaced. And Matt Jarvis is the other man to come off. The two replacements for the Hammers. Ricardo Vazte is one of them. I have to confess the number 23 was not on my initial team sheet. It may well be Matthias Fanimo, but we'll confirm that for you in a moment. In fact, it's Diego Poyet. So Poyet, you'd imagine, a central midfielder would just slot into Mark Noble's role. Vazte, more of an attacking threat. Says Joey O'Brien, one of the earlier substitutions. Diame with the cross. This is the commentators' world, Paul, particularly in friendlies. They change numbers left, right and centre.
Yeah, we're struggling to keep up at the minute.
Here's Diame, trying to wriggle his way through. Wellington all of a sudden in a bit of strife here after being comfortable for most of this game. Vazte trying to go around the outside. To get it up towards halfway, where they'll hope it will stick. It's too high for Kenny Cunningham, and Krishna won't get to the rebound.
Again, West Ham were offering very little up until the goal, but the goal definitely seems to have given them a little bit more confidence and playing a little bit more freely now.
Downing with the switch. O'Brien. Good drop of the shoulder from Stuart Downing. Tees up the chance for himself. It's on target. Moss has spilled it. Kevin Nolan can't get the rebound.
Yeah, Downing's been quite lively since he's come on. Was allowed to come inside on his left foot there, and you can't give him chances on his left foot. excellent left-footed player and a decent strike, but Mossy was covering it well.
This is a good little test of character for Wellington after holding that 2-goal cushion for so long. Now there's just a little bit of pressure on. That's not a good ball from Downing. He's helped out though by Mohamed Diame. He's had a tidy night. First out wide right for the Hammers, more central position now. In fact, a little bit deeper as well since the departure of Kouyaté. O'Brien. Downing with time and room to turn. Good switch as well. Cresswell. This is Diego Poyet. Vastey asking for the ball. Poyet doesn't want to give it to him. Downing offers instead. Now Vastey. That's a little bit ambitious.
Yeah, I think Glenn Moss will be pleased to see shots coming in from there. The Phoenix defending well in numbers. I think it's a case of holding on to what they've got now and trying to catch West Ham on the break if possible.
All of a sudden, Paul, it's a little bit quieter around Eden Park. Just these yellow fever fans, the Phoenix supporters who are in joyous mood for most of the game, perhaps just biting one or two fingernails.
Yeah, it could be a nervous last 15. I think they take the whistle a little bit sooner, but you know, they've been good value so far.
They've been great value. Rodriguez stretching, couldn't rein the ball in. Cresswell. West Ham growing in confidence. Zarate. He's got one goal, might fancy a second. Rides one challenge, tees up Stuart Downing. West Ham probing here. Wellington sat very deep. Downing, they pinched the ball, the Knicks. Now they can look to counter. Nathan Burns just overrunning it. Ernie Merrick readying Michael Boxall, a defender of course. Understandable perhaps, looking to protect the lead for the final 15 minutes or so. Here's Downing. Drop of the shoulder, and this time he does get around Tom Doyle, but the cross with the weaker right foot doesn't quite find its intended target. Moss got a piece of it. Wellington survive, for now at least. And then a mistake from James Tompkins will give them a bit of a breather.
I think Glenn Moss can thank Manny Muscat and Dewar there for getting rid of that one. I think he's missed the flight of the ball, but they've done well to clear that one.
More changes afoot. Aaron Cresswell to make way for West Ham. His replacement, Daniel Potts. And Nathan Burns, who's had some promising moments this evening. He's going to make way in favour of the tall, rangy defender, Michael Boxall. There's Potts, who is the son of former West Ham legend Steve Potts. Made many, many appearances, nearly 400s in total for West Ham. And Nathan Burns gets the handshakes. There's his replacement, Michael Boxall.
Yeah, Boxy, not sure where he's going to fit in. Might be playing defensive midfield. He's slotted in everywhere over the last season or so. Done pretty well wherever he's been employed.
Well, played it right back, didn't he, for much of the latter part of last season in the A-League after that injury for Louis Fenton. Now there could be a chance here for Rydenton, who was onside. There was no flag. Cunningham couldn't control it. Instead it's West Ham who bring it clear. Downing with the switch. Vastey lets it run. This is Potts. Vastey looking to hit Kevin Nolan, who's had a bit of a quiet night. Cross comes in towards Zarate, who turns it towards goal. Well, that was beautifully worked, and Zarate just contorted his body into just the right shape to try and angle it past Glenn Moss.
Yeah, nice run again from Zarate. It was actually the run before from Kevin Nolan that I liked. You know, we've been waiting 70-odd minutes for that to happen. He's made a run forward and he's opened up a little bit of space out on the left. Good ball in. Zarate makes his way to the near post and he's unlucky with the finish.
Credit to Alba Riera as well, who perhaps just did enough to put off the Argentine.
I think Sam Allardyce's subs have definitely made an impact. Stuart Downing in particular has been very creative so far.
Seems to go in and out of fashion, doesn't it? Having the left-footed winger playing on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
They call them inverted wingers these days.
Inverted wingers, yeah. I don't see why they can't use both feet, to be honest.
You did. And do.
Not at the minute.
Here's Vaz Tate, the Portuguese who counts Manchester United's nanny as one of his best friends in football. It was neatly done by Joe O'Brien, just ran out of pitch. And here's a change you don't too often see in friendly matches. Wellington Phoenix are going to replace their goalkeeper. Give Luis Italiano a rare run out in first team colours in place of Glenn Moss for the last 10 minutes. Give him a taste of the big time.
Yeah, very nice. Good move by Ernie, I think. Moss has had a good night so far. Little chance with the goal, but it's been solid throughout. And Luis Italiano gets a little bit of a taste, which is always good.
Ernie Merrick's first signing for Wellington Phoenix, Luis Italiano. Signed from Perth Glory. Where, of course, goalkeeper coach Jonathan Gould knew him pretty well. Had the job there for a while. He's known as a bit of a petrol head, isn't he, Luis Italiano? Likes his cars and his bikes.
He likes his cars and his bikes and his surfing, actually. But he's a very decent keeper, very competent. Tough gig, obviously. We talked about it last night, being a second or third choice keeper behind somebody like Glenn Moss, who never seems to be injured. Very tough gig, but he's done a good job, and nice that he gets a little bit of time tonight.
And hopefully, from a Wellington point of view, he'll enjoy the experience. Glenn Moss can say he came off a winner, whatever happens.
Yeah, Moss will be pleased with that. He's done his job tonight.
They may still extend their advantage. They've got a chance to do so here. Cunningham waiting for the delivery. And it doesn't arrive. They do get a corner, though, the Knicks. And, of course, it's that time of night. Whatever the weather, shirts off. Boys or girls, doesn't matter.
There's some sights there.
Which ones are you talking about in particular here, Paul?
Most of them.
I think it's a great tradition. I love it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan myself, actually. It's nice to see, and obviously you need to be winning. We're in front with 10 minutes to go, so all good.
Here's Rodriguez with the corner, whose goal has helped put them in that position. Denton then strikes it from long distance. Cannons out towards Rodriguez again on the right-hand side. Now Boxall in a bit of space here. It's just beyond Rodriguez. Not the ball, really, that Wellington required in that situation.
Not the ball that Rodriguez required in the 83rd minute, actually. He's done a lot of work in the midfield. Been a tireless runner. Bit of a tough ball to try and retrieve at this late stage.
Looks a decent find, though, doesn't he, Rodriguez?
Yeah, I think he's been good. Obviously, you're never sure. The boys have played sort of lesser opposition up until now, but I think he's very assured tonight. A goal and an assist, you can't really ask for more than that. And like I said, he's been up and down all night.
I know that Chris Greenacre, assistant to Ernie Merrick, spoke to his big mate Robbie Stockdale in the northeast of England about Rodriguez's talents. And your prediction was right about Albert Riera. Paul, he's not quite been able to see out the 90 minutes, and his replacement is another youngster getting a taste of the big time. Local boy Andrew Blake. What a moment for him. 10 minutes against West Ham.
Yeah, nice to see Albert back. Very, very good hit out tonight. Thought he was excellent. And young Blake comes on, another youngster who's been doing really well in pre-season. I think he's played every age group up in the national side and has looked good, like I said, in pre-season. So big chance for him tonight.
As I'm sure you picked up on that, Kevin Nolan has taken his leave as well, to be replaced by Matthias Fanimo, one of the West Ham youngsters yet to make his debut in the Premier League. England under-18 international. This is Zarate, the only hammer on the score sheet so far. That's his team another corner. That'll be one of the positives that Sam Allardyce can take from tonight's game, whatever the result. That Zarate has not only scored but looked pretty handy as well.
Yeah, he makes very, very good runs.
Here's the corner from Downing, and it's headed by Winston Reid just wide. Wouldn't he love to score in his home city?
Thankfully he didn't. It's 5 minutes to go, and the Phoenix are holding on a little bit. Drew's down in the box at the moment.
Climbed nice and high, didn't he, Reid?
Just couldn't quite get the direction.
New long-term contract at West Ham. Well, that perhaps gives you a reasonable reflection of the overall story. 29 times West Ham have made incursions into the Wellington penalty area. 12 shots on goal to Wellington's 9. Really, it's taken them a long time to find their groove in this game.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, the subs have made a difference. Downing's been good. Zarate's movement is excellent. If they can find somebody to link up and play him through balls, I think it'll be definitely dangerous. It'll be nice to see how he links up with Enner Valencia come the start of the season.
At the other end of the park, Ivan Strinic, we understand, the Croatian defender, undergoing a medical in London today prior to becoming Sam Allardyce's latest acquisition. Both the Hammers and Newcastle very active in the transfer market as they seek to climb up the Premier League table next season.
I think neither manager can complain about funds being handed out. They've spent plenty, but at the moment Newcastle look like they're definitely in front of West Ham in terms of where they are during their pre-seasons.
Manny Muscat happy to accept the corner. He's struggling a bit with cramp as well. Not the only one, I don't think. What a shrewd investment he's been down the years for Wellington. Brought initially on a short-term injury replacement contract for Vince Leah, who himself is out injured for this particular tour. That's how football goes.
Yeah, Manny's been a great performer. Certainly in the time I was at the club, 5 years, just to see the improvement, firsthand. It's very rare that somebody can come into the game at that age and just carry on getting better and better. And obviously been rewarded with the All-Stars call-up, which is great news for him and the club.
Here's the lively Stuart Downing. Slips it forward towards Zarate, but Sigmund still full of running, still strong, even in the 88th minute.
Yeah, it's good to see. Siggy's had a pretty tough off-season with a few niggly injuries, but he's looked pretty solid tonight, and he'll want to make sure that this game finishes 2-1, that's for sure.
He keeps saying he's talking and thinking about retirement. Surely not for a year or two yet.
I hope not, but I think, we all get to that age where the body seems to hurt more days than it doesn't. And I suppose when that comes along, it's how much you've got left in you, and he's Mr. 100% always, so he's probably done it harder than most of us.
Cross whipped in with pace, met by Durante. Almost over the line against the big boys from the Premier League, Wellington. They've put in a really good shift this evening. For the most part, they've been good value, but West Ham coming home with a wet sail, as the saying goes in Australia. I'm not sure if it's the same in this part of the world.
Yeah, it'll work.
And they may still find an equaliser or better. Here's Zarate trying to find a way through. Poyet, Zarate. The threat is there now for West Ham. Wellington pinned in, but Cunningham slips it through the legs of O'Brien to roars of approval from the home fans. Krishna needs to stick for Wellington in this part of the park. Give the defence a bit of a breather, and they've done so. Just an update on the West Ham lineup. James Tompkins has slipped off the park with a bit of a groin injury. There's no further replacement possible for the Hammers. So they're going to complete this game with 10 men. Wellington do have another one up their sleeve. Manny Muscat's in no particular rush to get off. Josh Brindle-South waiting for his moment. He's had a tough night tonight, Manny Muscat, hasn't he, with Ricardo Vaz-Tane before him, in particular Matt Jarvis, who's probably the best of a pretty poor bunch in the opening hour or so for the Hammers.
Yeah, I think he did a pretty good job. Jarvis has been their best player, but Manny's been pretty good throughout. Josh Brindle-South comes on. He's another youngster who unfortunately fell under the Wellington Phoenix injury curse last season and actually fell in a divot towards the end of the season and ruptured ankle ligament. So it's nice to see him back out there tonight.
It's going to be 5 minutes of stoppage time. That's not what Wellington wanted to hear, as O'Brien whips in the cross. Brindle-South's first involvement is a good one. He volleys it clear. Picked up in the deep again by West Ham. This is Poyet. Winston Reid. O'Brien's made a run forward. He's on the ball now. Downing an option which he uses. And they find the right delivery. That's good work again by Tom Doyle. A little bit slow to clear their lines, Wellington. West Ham will come again. It's blasted on target. Nothing really to trouble Luis Italiano. To the 2nd minute of stoppage time, and Krishna just ensuring that the ball goes behind the whitewash. Wellington can eat up a few more valuable seconds. O'Brien looking down the line, but there's nobody there for West Ham. Doyle. He's going to play the full 90 minutes or 95 minutes. And he's not looked out of place. Sam Allardyce up in the stands looking rather rueful.
Yeah, been very impressed with Doyle tonight. To be on trial in a game of this nature is obviously tough. He's only a young lad, but I think he's acquitted himself very, very well. Ernie will certainly be pleased with what he's seen, I think, tonight.
That's not a good ball. Not a particularly great first touch either by Kenny Cunningham. Just trying to put himself about and again run down the clock for Wellington. This is Whitehead. Telegraphs it straight at Sigmund. And Denton's got the better of Whitehead. Trying to thread it through for Krishna. Free kick goes West Ham's way.
Good interception there from Denton. Just a little bit under hit the ball, couldn't get it out of his feet, Krishna, and both ended up on the floor.
Downing, sands of time running a bit short now for West Ham. Stuart Downing, can he get the equaliser? Oh, it's a really good save from Luis Italiano. A full stretch away to his right to deny Stuart Downing and West Ham. The corner's been taken quickly. Italiano may well be the hero, the substitute goalkeeper. There's still a bit to play here at Eden Park. Zarate can't find a way through. Some tired bodies out there in yellow and black stripes. O'Brien to tee it up. Here's Downing again, who certainly caught the eye off the bench. Back for Whitehead. Phoenix fans trying to get their team over the line. There's a minute to go in Auckland. Anywhere will do for Tom Doyle.
Yeah, he's done a great job again there. Just before that, obviously, Downing cut inside. A great strike, but Luis Italiano is equal to it. It's a great save.
Whitehead, sorry Paul, belts it long cross field for Vaz Tay. Is there one more chance for West Ham? Sigmund clears it. Every Wellington touch now being cheered by the home fans. Krishna trying to find Cunningham, which he does. They should run for the hills, Wellington. Too long. Well, they're desperate to hear the final whistle in the yellow fever. Ernie Merrick wants to make another change, to run the clock down further. Alex Rufer might not get on. Whistles from the stands. West Ham still trailing. They've created a host of chances in these closing moments. Stuart Downing's been excellent, denied by Luis Italiano. Joey O'Brien to swing it in, away by Sigmund. The 5 minutes are up. Peter O'Leary looks at the watch. Still we go on. Winston Reid to angle it in towards Zarate. Brindle South out to meet him. It's a goal kick. There won't be time for it. It's a little bit of history for the Wellington Phoenix, who add an English Premier League scalp to Boca Juniors in their list of big-name casualties. The yellow fever can celebrate, and rightly so, and Luis Italiano with that all-important save late on from Stuart Downing to keep the Knicks' noses in front. And now they will head home on Sunday to face Newcastle in the hope of perhaps winning this Football United tournament. First half goals from Andy Durante, the captain, and then new boy Alex Rodriguez. A West Ham comeback crowned by Mauro Zarate in the second half, but too little, too late from a lacklustre West Ham. They are beaten in Auckland. Wellington Phoenix 2, West Ham United 1. And Wellington Phoenix becoming just the second A-League club to defeat a Premier League outfit. Let's go down and get some reaction from one of the goal scorers, Andy Durante.
A delighted skipper, a delighted goal scorer, Andrew Durante. The Wellington Phoenix have beaten West Ham United. Where does this sit?
Yeah, it's pretty special. It's a special moment for the football club. Obviously, an English Premier League team on our shores is a great thing, but to do them is pretty special.
What do you think were the main reasons behind your victory tonight?
Good header to get us off the mark. Look, we worked really hard. Ernie had a really good game plan. We worked on pressing, and we also worked on sitting back, and it worked well. And they're a great team, and we had to work extremely hard. And it's just a great experience.
And in the last 10 minutes or so, resilience from the Phoenix to hold out an ever-attacking West Ham side.
Yeah, we knew they were going to come hard at us. They're a good bunch of players, and they were desperate to get the equaliser, and we battled hard. And in credit to our boys, we were fantastic.
Congratulations, Gerard, and enjoy it.
Thanks, Piney. Cheers, buddy.
Thanks, mate.
Well, goals as rare as hen's teeth for Andy Durante, but he got one tonight. Let's get some West Ham reaction. Back down we go.
And Stuart Downing joins us. Stuart, it didn't quite go West Ham's way tonight. Where didn't you quite get it right on the field tonight?
I think we passed the ball around without really penetrating. I think, especially the first half. But credit to them, they're a good outfit. They were fit, passed the ball around well, and they made us chase it at times. So you got to give them credit for that. I thought, maybe we could have got a draw in the end. The keeper's made a great save for my shot, but I think overall we'd be a little bit disappointed with the goals we conceded. But I think obviously the main thing is everyone come through all fit and well.
Yeah, you certainly caught the eye off the bench in that shot. We were right behind it. Did you think it was flying in the far corner?
Yeah, I thought it was in, to be fair. I think the keeper was a bit unsighted, but credit to him. A great save. He tipped it around the post, and it would have been nice to get a draw out the game. We're a bit unlucky, but like I say, we're going to sack this game and look to win that one.
Right, congratulations on tonight's performance, and we'll see you in Wellington.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. Okay. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, Stuart Downing and West Ham, like all the other teams, will head to Wellington for that big double header on Saturday, I should say. And Wellington will go in great hearts. They've claimed a big scalp here in Auckland tonight, defeating West Ham United by 2-1. We've got all the reaction with Stephen McIver, Paul Eiffel and the rest of the team after this short break. Don't go away.
West Ham fans won't be too happy. In fact, they look just a little bit disappointed. There are smiles there, but they've been beaten 2-1 by the Wellington Phoenix in Game 2 of this Carlsberg Football United tour. Stephen Lukova, Paul Eiffel's come back down quickly. Your instant reaction from that?
Over the moon. I think the boys were excellent. I'm going to talk as though they're my teammates still, but they were top draw tonight. A little bit surprised by the result, but I think they were good value for it.
Actually, his first words were, wow. So when we look at the second half highlights, the Phoenix leading 2-0 at half-time, goals to Durante and Rodriguez. And then in the second half, things started to pick it up. Sam Allardyce must have given them a blast.
Yeah, you'd like to think so. I think the subs made a difference late on.
Nathan Burns was handy, wasn't he? He's a very good acquisition who you picked out in pre-game.
Yeah, he's very direct, likes to get on the ball, bring other people into play. Here you can see a nice shot from distance that just curled away at the last minute, but I thought he was lively throughout.
And they kept on pressing, and that was their shape was so strong too, all throughout the 95 minutes.
I think that was the trouble that West Ham had. They were finding it really difficult to get in behind, find a way to break them down. You see Big Sam on the phone there, probably shouting down instructions through the phone, but a lot of it probably wasn't getting through.
From about the 70-minute mark, then they started to have a crack. And that goal from Zarate, that was top draw.
Yeah, excellent finish. You can see a different level of movement. He's going to be some player for them, I hope. Downing came on and made a big difference on the right-hand side, cutting in on his left foot.
And then they just kept on pressing, and they'd done that in the first half, as we saw at half-time, but they hadn't had any success. They started to look like they were going to break the Phoenix open.
Absolutely, and you see again, Downing cuts inside. This is a wonderful save from Italiano. He's come off the bench with 10 minutes to go, probably a little bit cold like the rest of us.
Jeepers, how could you not be cold if you're a fan?
Seeing that.
A yellow fever sport. That 10-minute rule is just a ridiculous rule, particularly in conditions like this. You and I are struggling at the moment. Well, the possession stats didn't change too much from the first half. Still pretty 60-40, and 4 corners to the West Ham United. Go to the second page of the statistics. We'll probably tell a little bit more of the story. 14 shots on goal by West Ham United. 8 of those on target for only 1 goal. Not probably what you'd expect out of that sort of match.
No, absolutely. You look at the scoreline 2-1, you'd think it would be closer, but I think the Phoenix capitalised on their chances, and like I said earlier, definitely good value.
So some of the players just warming down. Man of the match, believe it or not, was the one man we talked about. The former ambulance driver. His name, Albert Riera.
Yeah, I thought he was great.
Well, Albert Riera, wonderful personal performance, wonderful team performance tonight. How does it feel to come out on top against a Premier League side?
Yeah, brilliant. I think we couldn't ask for anything else. You know, it's an amazing venue, you know, amazing people. And I think we couldn't ask, you know, for anything else. I think the whole team had amazing performance. And I think we're still, you know, building up, you know, the way we play, but we couldn't ask for anything else. Amazing game.
What was the game plan Ernie Merrick tried to get you guys to play tonight?
Yeah, we normally, you know, press high in day-league teams, you know, but we knew today was a special game. We couldn't probably do that today, so we had a special, you know, just back off a little bit more and wait for them to come. And I think it worked out pretty well, you know. I mean, it's just short on the field, and I think the formation was excellent.
And personally, how did you enjoy your midfield battles out there tonight?
Really good. I mean, you know, I think everyone's been helping each other. Everyone was buzzing, you know. We're having a team in front of us like West Ham. They always give, you know, this a bit of buzz. So I think really happy for the performance tonight, and I think it's keep going like that.
And your injury, no ill effects of the injury? You're 100%?
Nearly there. We're still working out, and I think hopefully soon it's going to be all right.
Well done tonight, and we'll see you on Saturday.
Yeah, thank you very much. See you later.
All smiles from Albert Riera, the man of the match, actually named over the crowd. The crowd went up crazy about that one. Let's just talk about a couple of the stars that stood out. Let's go to the back foot. Siggy was as strong as ever, but young Doyle.
Doyle was excellent. Like I said, Dura was going to help him through this game, but, you know, I thought he stood up, great in the tackle. His distribution was very good, and he managed to get up and attack when the chance was there.
Riera, Rodriguez, you happy with what you see with the combination with Burns as well?
Absolutely, the Spanish connection. It looks like Burns has been doing his Spanish lessons. the three of them complement each other very well. Albert was sweeping up in front of the back four and just giving it to the boys who can play and get on the ball.
Paul, hasn't this set us up beautifully for Saturday?
Can't wait.
Cannot wait, and it all begins around 1:30 on Sky Arena because we have for you a double header. Oh yeah, Sydney FC, Wellington Phoenix, Newcastle United, West Ham United. But tonight at Eden Park finishes with a Wellington Phoenix win. They beat West Ham United 2-1. See you in the capital on Saturday from 1:30 live on Sky Arena.
save. Mauro Zarate, that's an excellent finish. Mauro Zarate has his first goal for his new club.